A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A gang has hijacked and robbed a bank truck. They've stolen over $100,000. There's no lead to their identity. Your job? Get them. During this holiday season, young America, all of us, will be concentrating on our favorite winter sports: ice skating, bowling, basketball, skiing. One thing you'll notice: whatever young America does, wherever it goes, Chesterfield goes along. Yes, Chesterfield is the choice of young America. Chesterfield is the choice of more thousands of smokers everywhere. People are learning the facts about Chesterfield, learning that Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine, learning that Chesterfield is really mild, really satisfying. So how about it, friends? Change to Chesterfield yourself. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, June 5th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the business office, and it was 10:52 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Did you get him?
Yeah, here's the gun.
You got the double-aught buck?
Yeah, Jack. Here you go. Any word yet?
No, we ought to be hearing pretty quick.
Nothing from Herman and Benson, huh?
Last we got from them, they were over on Hobart.
No action there?
Nothing.
I get it. Robbery Friday. Yes, ma'am. That's right. Well, when was this? No, that's a burglary. If you'll hold on just a minute, I'll have you switch them. Yes, ma'am. Hold on just 1 minute. Would you give this call to 2524, please? That's right, burglary. Thank you. Woman who wants somebody to come out and talk to her about her husband's work pants being taken from the clothesline.
You should have gone out.
Yeah. You got a cigarette? I'm fresh out.
Here you are. Got a man?
Yeah, thanks.
Well, you might as well sit down. Take it easy. You got no idea how long we're going to be here.
Guess so. You know, I'm still not real sure about how this tip came in. You want to fill me in?
Call came through this afternoon. Man refused to give his name, just said he had some information he thought we'd like to have.
No idea who it was, huh?
No. Said it wasn't important. Went on to say that he could tell us where to pick up the men who held up the bank truck.
Well,
I figured it might be a crank, so I asked him how we could be sure the story was true.
how'd he answer that?
Said he could prove it. Said he had some of the serial numbers on the stolen bills.
You check out?
Yep. Gave me the numbers from 10 of the 20s. I checked the serial numbers. They're good.
And that's when he said he'd call back, huh?
Yeah, said he'd call tonight around 10 and give us the address where we could pick up the men.
It's late now, about an hour. Huh?
Yeah. But he knows what he's talking about. We got to be here when the phone rings.
No way of getting an ID on him, huh?
None.
What'd he say about the men? They heavy?
From the way he tells it, they're loaded. Got all the guns and ammunition they need to hold out for a week.
He knows that. Why couldn't he give us the address this afternoon?
He said he wanted to put a lot of distance between him and the rest of them.
Say how many there were?
Not right out. The way he talked, though, we figure there's 3.
Any names?
No, said he'd tell us where to pick them up. Said when we blew the whistle, they'd tell us.
I'd be a little tight taking then, huh?
If the way they handle the guards on the truck is any indication, it isn't going to be a picnic.
How many men we got?
Herman and Benson, we can call them in. Murph and Rafferty, Stewart and Creasy.
Where are they now?
Well, I saw Murph and Raff down at the business office just a minute ago. Said they'd be right in. I get it. Robbery Friday. Yes, it is. Where? Yeah, put him through. Call from San Francisco. Operator says station to station.
Might be our boy.
Huh, you'd have to fly up north to get here this fast.
Airlines don't ask for recommendations when they sell a ticket.
Wait just a minute. This Friday. Who's this? Okay, if that's the way you want it. Yeah. Give me that address. All right, let me read that back to you. 1657 Garfield Place, apartment 408. Is that right? Okay. Why don't you tell us your name and we'll do any... Hello. Oh, he hung up.
I'll have the business office get on it, see if they can come up with a number. You got the address?
Yeah, I got that here. The way he put it, job might be tougher than we figured.
What do you mean?
Well, I asked him his name. I told him it wouldn't make any difference if he told us.
Yeah?
He said it'd make a lot of difference. Said they'd kill him if they found out that he faked on them.
That figures.
Yeah. Said that when he reads in the papers that they're dead, then he'll come in.
When they're dead?
Yeah. Says we won't take him alive. 10 days previously, on Thursday, May 26th, 3 men had stopped an armored truck on its way to the Federal Reserve Bank. The truck had stopped for collection on Wilshire Boulevard. The 3 hold-up men had approached the truck and produced sawed-off 12-gauge shotguns. At gunpoint, 2 of the men forced the drivers to go out to the San Fernando Valley. The third followed in another car. On a side road south of Ventura Boulevard, the suspects had tied and then beaten the driver and the guard. The 2 men were placed in the back of the truck, and after stealing all of the cash in the vehicle, the thieves had driven off. As soon as the theft was discovered, men from the Federal Bureau of Investigation were notified. Together with them, Frank and I followed down every lead. The crime lab went over the truck but found nothing that would help us in getting to the thieves. Latent fingerprints were able to come up with nothing. The driver of the truck and the guard had been shown the mug books, but they were unable to make an identification. The method of operation was checked through the stats office, but when the leads that developed were checked out, we were in the same position as when we first got the call. We had no idea of who the thieves might be. Descriptions obtained from the 2 victims were broadcast to the entire nation, but there were no kickbacks. The FBI weighed and sifted all evidence in its Washington headquarters, but they came up with the same results we had. Nothing. The phone call from the informant was the first concrete lead that we'd gotten. There were 9 men from Robbery Division and 3 teams from the FBI in the operation. From the information we had, we knew the suspects were armed and they were dangerous. The people in the building were gotten out of their apartments. The building itself was completely surrounded. 1:36 a.m. We moved in.
Boys in the street are set. Let's go.
All right. Did you check the manager?
Yep. Descriptions of the men in the apartment match the one we got from the driver. The truck checks out to be the same guy.
The manager say how many there were?
3. She's not sure they're all in.
All right.
Sounds like somebody's moving around in there.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Police officer, stand still.
What are you doing in here?
You here alone?
Yeah, alone. What are you looking for, convention?
Where are the other 2?
What 2?
Nobody else, Joe.
Closet over there looks like an arsenal, loaded with guns. A couple of sawed-off shotguns.
You guys got no right to come in here like this. I don't know what you're looking for, but you ain't going to find
What's
it.
your name?
Hank Peterson.
You rent this apartment with 2 other guys. Manager tells us that they're Harvey Fitzgerald and Lou Colton. Is that right?
Yeah, they live here.
Where are they now?
I don't know. Out. Maybe to a movie. I don't know.
When do you expect them back?
Well, look, they're big fellas now. They don't have to get me to sign a report card. They do what they want. They went out. I don't know where. They didn't tell me. They also didn't tell me when they'd be back. Well, what's this all about?
Where'd you get those guns in the closet?
They don't belong to me.
Who do they belong to?
One of the guys.
Which one?
Why are you coming in here and asking all these questions? I ain't done nothing. You got no beef with me. I don't know anything about the guns. Maybe Lou likes to hunt. I don't know.
They belong to Colton, huh?
Yeah, he brought them.
You don't know where he is now?
I told you. If I knew where he was, I'd tell you. I don't want any trouble. I don't like to have people pointing guns at me. Would you put that one away?
Turn around.
What?
I said turn around. Get over to the wall. Put your hands up on it.
Big deal. What happens now? You kick my feet out and I fall down?
Stand still.
I'll get it, Joe.
You ain't going to find nothing on me. I tell you I'm clean.
Nice try, Peterson. Here's a .38 Colt. Joe had it in his belt.
You go around pretty heavy for a fellow that doesn't want trouble, don't you?
I carry a lot of money. Sometimes I think some guys are trying to take it away from me. I got to protect myself.
Yeah.
Anybody's got the right to protect himself.
Yeah, you got a permit for this gun?
No, I didn't get around to it yet. I'm going to, though, right away. I'll get one. You know how it is. You mean to do something, but you forget. Hey, can I stand up straight now?
Yeah.
Come on, Peterson. Get your hands behind you.
Maybe you guys will tell me what this is for. What are you looking for?
We'll tell you downtown.
Well, you know you're making a big mistake.
Is that right?
Well, sure, you really call this one wrong. You're dragging in an innocent man. I'm clean. I made a mistake when I didn't register the gun. I'll cop to that, but that's the edge. I don't go past there.
No, you got it wrong, Peterson.
Read me how.
We got you going in for the bank truck robbery. You and your 2 friends, you're going to stand for it.
Keep talking about my 2 friends. I got no friends. I move in with a couple of fellas. All of a sudden, I got a piece of some action they're shoving. You got it wrong, cop.
You aren't going to tell us you happen to be here at the wrong time, are you?
Look, I'm from Chicago. I got a lead on a job out here. It gets cold in Chicago in the wintertime. I don't like the cold. Get a lead on a job out here in California, so I put an ad in the paper telling how I'd like to drive out with the guy, share expenses. The fellow that answers the ad wants to leave when I got to go is Lou Colton. I took a third of the tab driving out. We got into town. He's got this apartment lined up, this one right here. I got no place to stay, so he says for me to pad down with him. That's it. The beginning, the middle, the end. Anything outside of that, I don't know. If you got trouble with Lou, then take it up with him, but don't make me fit in. I got no part of the action. I don't want any.
What about the gun?
The
gun you had on you.
I tried to explain that. I meant to get a permit for it. I didn't get around to it yet.
What about the ones in the closet?
Well, talk to Lou. They belong to him. Maybe he's going to open a museum.
All right. Let's get out of here.
Come on, let's go.
Look what you did to the door, breaking it up like that. No reason. All you had to do was knock. Landlady's going to be pretty sore about it. I'd have let you in if you'd have knocked. Breaking up a door like that, she's going to be real sore. Probably won't talk to me.
Well, it's going to be a while before she's got the chance. While Frank and I took Henry Peterson downtown, the other officers from robbery maintained the surveillance on the apartment. Because of the construction of the building, it was impossible to wait inside of the room. However, all of the entrances were covered. 2:40 a.m. We checked the suspect through R&I, but we found that he had no record in Los Angeles. His fingerprints were taken and forwarded to Washington for checking. He was printed and mugged and then placed in a cell in the felony section at the main jail. The rest of that night, the watch in the apartment continued without results. The following morning, Frank and I met with Lieutenant Smyers at a special show-up of the suspect for the driver and the guard of the armored car. Without hesitation, they both stated positively that Peterson was one of the men who'd held them up. The kickback arrived from Washington with the information that Peterson was wanted for escape from the state penitentiary in New Jersey. He'd been convicted on a charge of murder and robbery and given a life sentence. The record showed that he'd escaped from the prison on Friday, May 9th, 2 weeks before the truck had been robbed. 4:15 p.m., we had him brought from his cell, and Frank and I talked to him in the interrogation room at the main jail.
You got a cigarette?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Here's a match.
What do we got going?
Same thing. We want to know about the robbery of that armored car.
You figure there's something I could tell you on it, huh?
We wouldn't be here otherwise.
I'll make you a deal.
We don't make them.
No, hear me out. You might go for this.
We can't promise you anything.
You're asking me to come over to your side. Seems like you'd be willing to come a little closer to the line.
What do you got to say?
How bad you got me nailed?
As deep as it can go.
For real?
That's right.
Lay it out.
All of it?
Yeah.
We got the kickback from Washington. We know you're wanted for escape. We checked the guns from the apartment. Found out they were taken in a burglary in Chicago Tuesday, May 13th.
Go ahead.
We checked with the Chicago papers. The ad you told us about asking for a ride out here, it was never run.
You guys are sure thorough.
The victims of the robbery identified your picture.
They sure?
They're sure.
No chance for a mistake?
No chance.
If I cop out, where am I going to do the time?
We don't decide that.
You think they'll send me back to Jersey?
I told you we got no say in that.
It's so cold back there. It's nice here in California. I like to stay here. Nothing you guys can do so I can take the fall in Quentin, huh?
Nothing.
Anyway you hear it, I'm nailed, huh?
That's right.
Okay. Maybe it's marked down that I copped out. They'll let me stay in California.
It'll be put down that way.
Okay. Where do you want me to start?
Try the beginning.
Good at places, any?
You were with the holdup, huh?
Yeah.
How about the other two?
You picked them up yet?
No. They haven't come back to the apartment.
Might be good if they didn't.
Where do you come up with that?
Heavy, real heavy.
What are their names?
Luke Colton, Harvey Fitzgerald.
Those are the names in the mailbox. Are they real?
As far as I know.
You aren't sure, huh?
No. Part of what I told you is true. I broke out of a jail in Jersey, then beat it to Chicago. Laid around for a couple of days, then started to look for some action. I was broke. I needed a score to set me up. Sitting in a bar down on State Street one night, and I met Lou and Harvey. They tipped me to the job out here.
You mean they came all the way out here to pull the one job?
Yeah. They got a rumble about how it'd be a cinch. Came out to run it off. Then they figured on going back, leaving you cops with nothing.
When were they figuring on leaving?
I don't know. This was their part of the deal. I told them going in I wanted to stay out here. Didn't make any difference to them. We all figured that if we cut up a $100,000 score, none of us was going to look bad. For all I know, they might be on the way back now.
Their clothes were still in the apartment.
You know how many suits you can buy with a third of $100,000?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, after the job, we made the split. Talked it over and decided to dig in for a few days and then take off. At least they decided to leave. Didn't say when. I told you now they might be on the way back now.
Who else knows you're in on the job?
Huh?
Outside of you three, Colton, Fitzgerald, who else knows about it?
Isn't anybody.
Well, where's your part of the money?
Got it down the bus depot. Got it in the locker down there.
How long's it been there?
Since day before yesterday. How often do they clean out them lockers?
Every 24 hours.
Well, then there's $33,000 floating around in the check room.
You got the key to the locker?
Yeah.
Where is it?
In my shoe. I got it taped with the sole inside.
You want to give it to us?
Well, no, but I Don't guess there's any other way.
No.
Okay.
You spend any of the money?
You mean the stuff we stole?
That's right.
No, not a dime. Why do you ask that?
Who else might know the serial numbers on the bills?
Well, nobody. Nobody but us, and I guess the guys at the bank, they got a record of them, I guess.
How about Colton and Fitzgerald? They spend any of their part?
I don't know. You got to ask them that.
The car you drove out after the armored truck, who'd that belong to?
Colton. It's the one we drove out here in.
What kind of car is it?
Plymouth, 1952.
What model?
Sedan.
Color?
Light blue.
You know the license number?
No, I never paid any attention to it.
What state's it out of?
Illinois.
Who drove the car when you went on the holdup?
Harvey?
Fitzgerald, huh?
Yeah. He drove the car, and Lou and I went in the truck.
Either of them been arrested before?
I'm not sure, but I think Lou fell in New York. I'm not sure, though.
How about Fitzgerald?
No. At least he never said anything about it. Only way I knew about Lou is that he talked about the food in Sing Sing. That's the way I knew about him.
You know what he fell for?
Armed robbery, I think, and there was a kidnap rap, too, but he beat it.
He out clean?
I don't know.
Seems like you planned a job with two guys that you didn't know very well, doesn't it?
I was hungry and I was cold. I wasn't about to ask for a life story when they offered me a part of the action.
How'd they pick you?
I told you, I was in a bar on State. Lou and Harvey came in. Both of them were carrying a load. I was sitting there drinking beer, just the three of us in the place, and Lou was drinking pretty heavy. He gets in a beef with the barkeep, and I saw the roll he was carrying, so I figured that if I could take his side in the brawl, maybe I could make a touch. We walked out of the bar, and he offered to buy me a meal. Next thing I know, I'm on the way to California. I'm a partner in a piece of goods that looks safe.
All that time in the car, and you didn't find out anything about your two partners?
We drove straight through. And we weren't driving, we were sleeping. Anyway, I wasn't a solid member of the club. I wasn't about to get my nose mashed in for having it someplace where it didn't belong. I figured if they wanted me to know something, they'd tell me.
Did you go with them for the guns?
No, they already got nose when I fell in.
You knew they were stolen.
Guys turn up with that kind of muscle and can't come from anywhere else. Sure, I knew it was stolen.
Colton and Fitzgerald have any friends out here?
No, not in L.A.
Anywhere on the coast?
Well, I hear Lou's got some people up north.
Where?
Maybe San Francisco, Marin County, I don't know. Might even be Oakland. Somewhere around the Bay Area.
They say anything about going up there?
No. Of course, they might have. The way Lou likes to eat, coming out here, he'd go 10 miles out of the way because he knew a place that had a good chili size. Think nothing of it. Never saw anybody who liked to eat so much. Real gourmet. Only with him, it was glutton.
He mentioned any names of people he knew up north?
No, just said he had people.
Anything about the car they're driving that'd make it easy to spot?
What do you mean?
Well, like a dented fender, a scratch, anything to identify it.
Yeah, it might be something. There's a kind of scratch in the back left fender, I think. Woman backed into us on the way out here. Cut right through the metal.
You think of any reason why they might ditch the car?
No. We kept a close tab on the papers right after the job and looked to see how much you had on it. When we didn't see anything, we figured the car was all right. I don't think they'd ditch it. It'd be pretty easy to trace. Lou owns it outright. Unless you want to try to grab cold plates, he'd drive it like it was.
Okay. We'll get you your things, and you can come over to City Hall and make a statement.
How about the key to the locker?
Oh, yeah. There it is. Probably some money due on the package I'll have to owe you.
We'll take care of it.
Too bad, isn't it?
What's that?
$33,000. I haven't got the dough to bail out the package.
Well, it works out even.
What?
We'd have no place to spend it. An immediate APB was gotten off carrying the names and descriptions of the two suspects. Also a description of the car. A radiogram was sent to DMV at Illinois, requesting the license and description of any car registered to a Lewis Colton. While Eleanor Eastlack took Peterson's statement, Frank got in touch with the telephone company. They'd finished checking the phone call we'd gotten from San Francisco, but the information they gave led us no farther toward apprehending the suspects. The call had been made from a pay booth in the ferry terminal building. We got in touch with the FBI and filled them in on the developments. As a result of Peterson's statement, the number of men maintaining the surveillance at the apartment on Garfield Place was cut to one team working days and one team working the night watch. We put a call in to San Francisco and talked to Chief of Inspectors James English. We filled him in on what had happened. He assigned Inspectors Sutton and Zimmerman to work with us on the case. 5:46 p.m. We checked out a trip car and we left for San Francisco. It took us a little under 10 hours to drive the 405 miles between the two cities. At 4:03 a.m., we stopped in Oakland and put in a call to the San Francisco Police Department. How much? Yeah, just a minute. Frank, you got a quarter?
Yeah.
Thanks. There you are. 264, please. Hello, this is Joe Friday. Yeah. You got a message there for me from Charlie Sutton or Jules Zimmerlin? Yeah. No, we just got in. Yeah. Oakland. What? Just a minute. You see that street sign up there?
Yeah, wait a minute. 5th and Poplar.
5th and Poplar. Yeah. No, we're coming right over. When was this? I see. Well, if Charlie calls in, tell him that we're on the way, will you? Right. Thank you. Well, we're almost too late.
What do you mean, they got a lead?
Sutton and Zimmerman called in 30 minutes ago.
Yeah?
They got the car waiting for the suspects now.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
There are good reasons why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Why Chesterfield is the largest selling two-way cigarette in America. Why Chesterfield is best for me and best for you. To sell a product, you have to make it good and keep it good. What do the latest reports show about Chesterfield? Well, our research laboratory has compared it with the leading cigarettes in the country. Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine. People these days want facts. When you want people to use your product, you have to tell them what effect it has on people who do use it regularly. That's why a doctor has examined for almost 2 years a large group of Chesterfield smokers. 45% of them have, on the average, been smoking Chesterfields for well over 10 years. What is the effect on these people from smoking Chesterfield? No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses, says the doctor, from smoking Chesterfield. Consider Chesterfield's record with those smokers, with millions of other smokers throughout America. Another good reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Regular or king size, Chesterfield is best for me and best for you.
The address the business office had given me on the phone was a large garage located at the corner of Union Avenue and Lynch Streets. When Frank and I got there, we met with Inspectors Sutton and Zimmerman. They told us that when they'd gotten the APB, a call had gone out immediately to the officers in the city to be on the lookout for a 1952 blue Plymouth with a dent in the left rear fender and carrying Illinois license plates. The suspects had parked the car in a no-parking zone on O'Farrell Street between Taylor and Mason Streets. At the peak hour of traffic, the car had been towed away from the parking place and left in a garage. While it was in the garage, the information on it had been received from our department, and an immediate stakeout was placed on it. We felt reasonably sure that the suspects would return for the automobile. They had no reason to think that there might be anything wrong. The address of the garage had been left so that they might find the car. All that would be necessary to release it would be the payment of the fine for overtime parking along with the towing and garage fee. The garage itself was a large building. It provided 4 stories for parking. The suspect's car was on the basement level. We were able to keep watch on it from a small office near the exit ramp. The attendants were instructed to act as if nothing was wrong when the suspects came in. Once we knew that they were in the building, the entrances and exits would be blocked and they would be taken into custody. There was nothing to do but wait. 5:30 a.m., no sign of Colton and Fitzgerald. 6:15 a.m., Frank went out and brought back some hot coffee. 6:45, 7 a.m. People began to come into the garage to get their cars, but not the 2 suspects. The later it became, the more difficult it would be for us to take the 2 men into custody. If there was going to be any shooting, we'd be in a bad position with civilians in the range of fire. 7:30, 8, 8:04 a.m. Somebody coming down there.
Yeah.
You see who it is?
No. Jules.
Yep.
You and Charlie want to cover the other side?
Right.
And watch it. We should be able to get a pretty good look at him.
Yeah.
Lousy deal. You parked the car and it's towed off the street. What kind of town is this? They got a sign. You should have put it in the garage. Yeah, you and your smart ideas. You read. Why didn't you see the sign? Who can tell you?
It's Colton and Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
You see Jules and Charlie?
Wait a minute. Yeah, over by the gray Mert. Looks like they're all set.
All right, let's go.
Let's get this straight out of here. Nice and Brent has left the rope for that. Under the cops took their thing. They should have been more than you. Stillman sure it was the right thing to do. But you don't have to think. If I wanted somebody for that, you'd still be that piece. You know one of these days you're going to open that mouth just a little too wide. Now, what do you guys want?
Police officers, you're under arrest.
Run her! Hit him off, Joe! The ramp, Joe. I'll get him.
Colton, this isn't the way out.
You follow your own laptop.
The doors are blocked, Colton. You're in here for good.
You're wearing the wrong kind of glasses. I'll get out.
Now, look, we got you for robbery. Don't make it any more.
Joe?
Yeah. He's over in the corner. How about Fitzgerald?
Sutton and Zimmerman got 2 of their guns in their lap. On no part of trouble.
Colton doesn't figure it that way.
I'll try to get around him.
All right, watch yourself.
Keep those people back out of the doorway. Go on, Frank. I'll cover you.
You
There's 3 more, Colton. You aren't going to get by all of us. Your partner quit. Why not be smart like him?
He's not smart, he's scared.
All right, Colton, I'm coming to you.
You do it, you'll be dead when you get here.
Throw down that gun. Colton! Colton! You see him, Joe? No. Take it easy, Joe. Colton. How about it?
He's hit. I can't tell how bad. He's still got the gun.
Colton! You can hear me? Throw that gun out here. Nothing.
Come on. Better call an ambulance.
Right. Never should have taken us.
Better take it easy, Colton. You're hit where it shows.
Never should have taken us. 2 of you, 2 of us.
You got it wrong, mister.
Huh?
You were outnumbered going in.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 18th, trial was held in Department 92, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. The Chesterfield Christmas carton is the most talked-about gift of the year. It features the covered bridge, which, of course, inspired the Kissing Bridge song, now a highlight of the Radio City Music Hall Christmas show. The carton itself is featured in most of the 1,300,000 retail tobacco stores coast to coast. This Christmas, do what I'm going to do. Give America's most popular two-way cigarette, regular and king-size Chesterfield. Best to give, best to get for Christmas.
Harvey Ned Fitzgerald and Louis Jeffrey Colton were tried and convicted of kidnapping, robbery in the first degree, and violation of the Dangerous Weapons Control Act. They were found guilty and sentenced as prescribed by law. Kidnapping is punishable by imprisonment for a period of from 1 to 25 years in the state penitentiary. Robbery in the first degree by imprisonment for a term of not less than 5 years. Violation of the Dangerous Weapons Control Act by imprisonment in the state prison for a period of not less than 5 years. Henry Vincent Peterson was remanded to the authorities of New Jersey for completion of his sentence. A hold was placed on him by the state of California in the event he is paroled.
Be sure to read the current issue of Photography Workshop for an interesting and informative look behind the scenes with Dragnet. That's Photography Workshop, the current issue.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Herb Ellis, Vic Perrin. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Buy new Fatima, the smooth smoke with Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. This Christmas, give Fatima in the special Christmas carton. Cork tip and plain ends, too.
Hear Merrill Muller and the news next on the NBC Radio Network.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Man with the Key.
A block above Wilton on Hollywood Boulevard, there's a street they call Taft. It isn't very long. About 48 palm trees and a couple of bad sewers. It figures that the guy who laid it was nearsighted. He didn't see the hill 3 blocks away. Got kind of a tired look, like an old lady who's been moving furniture. There's a dirty gray apartment house on the right-hand side of the street. That's my place. 308. A low ceiling and a leaky faucet. A telephone that rings at the wrong time. It was last Monday night, about 11 o'clock. I was in bed listening to the party next door when it rang. It was the Lion.
Regan, get your clothes on.
That the way you sleep?
You're going to be busy. We got a new client.
Well, tell me all about it in the morning.
Special messenger came to my place 15 minutes ago with a C note.
Any good?
It was from somebody named Dora King.
Well, who's that?
That's what you're going to find out.
I can see better in the daytime.
She's waiting for you right now.
Oh, yeah.
At a place on La Brea called the Southerner.
Should I take my banjo?
Don't be funny. She wants to talk to you, so get over there.
Well, what does she want to talk about?
How would I know?
Well, don't you ever check into things?
That's what I pay you for.
All right, where's last week's salary?
You'll get it.
When?
As soon as I find out if your expenses were legit. Now get busy.
That all?
No, call me right after you've seen her.
Why?
I want to know what's what.
You mean you want to know if she can afford more than a C note?
You're getting out of line.
That's what they told Gypsy Rose Lee. Well, I got over there about 11:30. Turned out to be a small place, long on the shadows and short on the whiskey. There was a bald-headed guy playing a piano in one corner. I guess he'd been inside for a long time, because he'd never been out for a music lesson. The bartender was the only other guy in the joint. His name couldn't have been Dora King. So I went to work on a straight shot and waited. 2 drinks later, a girl in a black dress walked in. She took in the piano player and the bartender and me. I won. She started toward me with a slow, easy kind of a walk, like a panther looking for breakfast. When she oozed onto the stool beside me, the bartender got damp all over. The air conditioning wasn't doing him any good.
What'll it be, miss?
Make it the same as his.
Okay, bourbon and water.
Got a match?
Yeah?
Got a cigarette?
Mm-hmm.
Got a name?
Maybe.
I'll bet it's Regan.
All right, you got that much.
My name's Dora King. I'm sorry I'm late.
You ever on time when you meet a guy?
No.
Your money, you can spend it any way you want.
You always this nice to customers?
I don't get paid to be nice.
What do you get paid for?
Have you got a story?
I haven't had my drink yet.
Hey, you.
Coming up. I'm jet propelled. Here you are, miss. Hey, hot night, ain't it?
You waiting for the weather to change?
It ain't gonna change in here, brother.
What's your first name?
Jeff.
I don't like it.
Neither do I.
I'm going to call you Regan.
All right, let's start calling.
Have you got a license?
Covers up a hole in my wall.
Have you got something that says you're what you say you are?
All right. Here.
The Lion's Eye. 6 feet, 170. Brown eyes. You fit?
Yeah, I got a mole on my left shoulder.
Let me feel. You pass.
Okay, you won the toss. Let's kick off.
Well, this isn't where we play. We'll go in my car.
Where?
You'll find out when you get there.
Maybe I won't like the field.
You trust me, don't you?
No.
Good.
Fill her up again?
We're just leaving.
Floor show starts in a couple of minutes.
That piano player going to be in it?
Yeah, he's my brother. He's going to play something he wrote himself.
Any good?
Stinks. Maybe you better go.
Well, the bartender was pouring himself 4 fingers of rye and about a fingernail of water when we walked out of there. We climbed into a big Nash convertible, parked in front of the place, and headed for Santa Monica Boulevard. Then we turned east, past Western, down to Vermont, and south to Marathon. All at once, we were climbing a hill on a dark street. That gave us a view of the city. 20 years ago, a real estate broker might have had something, but now it was just an old neighborhood with a sad look, like a toe dancer with a short leg. Nobody said anything, and I was beginning to have a feeling that maybe she'd forgot her compass when she slowed the car down. She pointed to a 2-story house in the middle of the block, and I nodded. Then she shoved the car in second and spun around the corner and came to a stop. I got out and walked around to let her out. She didn't move.
End of the line.
Short fare.
Time for you to go to work.
What kind of work?
The white place back there, 3936. You saw it?
It came through.
It's a boarding house.
I already got a room.
On the 2nd floor, number 10. Knocked twice.
Prohibition's dead, lady.
There's a man there. His name's Bender. Ben Bender.
That'll wake him up.
He's expecting you.
You're quitting?
My job's finished. You're the new help.
Well, what do I do?
He'll tell you.
That all?
One thing more. Come here.
Yeah. Part of my fee?
That's extra.
I don't generally get tipped.
Just for luck.
You act like I'm going to need lots of it.
You are.
When do I see you again?
You don't. Goodbye, gorgeous.
I stood there and watched her drive away, and then I noticed it. Somebody in a black coupe coasted around the corner, kicked into high gear at the bottom of the hill. I kept watching, but whoever it was hadn't read the traffic laws lately. He didn't use his lights for 2 blocks. Oh, it registered. It was on a tail job, and Dora was nice to tail. .3936 Marathon. Inside, it smelled like stale beer and rotting wood. Room number 10 was at the top of the stairs. The door was already open. A thin guy with a hungry look was sitting on the edge of the bed. He was all bones. He didn't get up when I came in. He just kind of looked at me, and his eyes were full of water. All of a sudden, he pulled a bandana out of his pocket and began coughing. You're sitting in a draft.
All my life. You Regan?
A girl with warm lips said I'd find you here.
Thanks for coming. Sit down. Hey, just got back from a trip.
Up north?
Yeah.
Sanitarium?
State said I needed a cure.
Did it take?
What do you think?
You're still coughing.
The doctor said I could go. Even give me a going-away present. $10 and a suit of clothes. It's a bum rap.
That's what they all say.
Who I am?
Ben Bender.
Big Ben Bender.
Hmm?
Does that mean anything to you, Pilgrim?
Must have been before my time.
Yeah? How old do you think I am?
I'm out of practice.
I'm up to 60. I'm 45. That's what 7 years in the sanitarium will do.
You ought to get a specialist.
Already got one.
What's his name?
You.
No, I'm only an intern.
You'll do.
All right, what do you want?
When the guy goes up there, he makes a lot of friends. And a lot of enemies. Sometimes you can't tell one from the other.
Does it make any difference?
Big Ben don't trust nobody.
No, what about that girl?
Dora? Forget her. Her job's done.
That's what she said.
See this key?
Yeah?
I wear it around my neck. I worn it for 7 years. You'll wear it for the next 7 hours.
Why?
Them friends and enemies I was telling you about.
What does the key fit?
My safety deposit box at the American Security Bank. You meet me there. Tomorrow, the 10.
What if I oversleep?
Stay up all night. I'll pay for the no-dose. Just be there.
After that?
And your job's finished. It's off this door you ever made.
Look, now, you kept this key 7 years. Why can't you keep it for 7 more hours?
My business.
What's in the box?
My business.
Okay. Any of those friends or enemies drive a black coupe, white sidewalls?
I don't know. Why?
My business. I left him sitting there. He looked as happy as a sword swallower with the hiccups. Well, I put the key in my coat pocket, but it felt hot, like a dynamite stick with a short fuse. If Big Ben had been holding it for so long, somebody else might want it. Maybe somebody who drove that black coupe. Well, I went out the back entrance, walked down an alley, and doubled over 5 blocks to Vermont. I stopped a cab, and I had him take me over to the Lyons place. It was 2:30 in the morning when he opened the front door. He was wrapped in a bathrobe big enough to keep all the silkworms working overtime.
What do you want, Regan?
Information.
You been drinking?
I've been working.
What kind of work?
Well, I got a key.
That all?
That's what they say.
Who's they?
A con named Bender.
Ben Bender?
That's right.
I thought he was doing a long run up in Quentin.
Well, he's out now.
Where does Dora King fit?
Taxi service. She took me to Bender. He gave me the key.
Let me see it.
All right, here.
Safety deposit box.
That's right. Nursemaid to a hunk of metal until tomorrow at 10.
What then?
Well, I meet him at the American Security Bank and turn it over to him.
Well, do it.
Now, look, Big Shot, this key's hot.
What makes it hot?
Whatever's in that box.
What's that?
How should I know?
Find out. You got the key.
You got the client.
Now, just a minute.
Somebody waves a green back at you and you think it's a rainbow.
That's enough.
Oh, stop it, will you? It's another bum client and you know it.
Let me worry about that.
If Ben held that key for 7 years and won't hold it now, he's scared.
What's he gonna be scared of?
Somebody else who wants in on the
So
play.
what?
I'm holding the key. That makes me the clay pigeon.
You're getting paid for it. Just be there tomorrow at 10. Alive.
Well, I left the Lion and went out to the street. Nobody was there. I hailed a cab, and he let me off in front of my place. Nobody was there. I opened the front door of my apartment. Nobody was there. I began to feel like a good bet for the Lonely Hearts Club. It was a good feeling. I sat up all that night waiting. Nothing happened. I felt about as popular as a bald-headed chorus girl. Nobody made a play. It was 5 minutes to 10 when I pulled into the parking lot next to the American Security Bank. The car next to me was a black coupe with white sidewalls. It could have been the same one that tailed us the night before. But then I figured there's a lot of cars in L.A. like that. But I leaned in and I looked at the registration. This one belonged to a guy named Al Spandy, who lived in Van Nuys. I wrote the address down and walked into the bank. The guard in a blue uniform waved me downstairs to the safety deposit boxes. It was 10, and still nothing happened. I began to feel kind of relieved, like a flagpole sitter when the wind died down. Big Ben hadn't showed yet. The only one there was a blonde sitting in a glass cage in front of the vaults. She looked at me, and I began to wonder what she did on her days off.
Good morning. May I help you?
Yeah, I want to see if the rent on my box has been paid. Here's the key.
60B. Just a minute. I'll take a look. 60B. 60B's all paid for.
Well, I guess my partner must have taken care of it.
This isn't a joint box. You're the only one who can get into it, Mr. Bender. Would you like to go in now?
No, I'm waiting for somebody.
We're all waiting for somebody.
I'm waiting for a man.
So am I.
Been waiting long?
Years.
Here?
Yes.
Better places to wait.
The ones with money keep coming here. My name's Claire.
I'll remember that.
Will you remember this? Granite 3408.
I'll try it on my phone.
When?
As soon as I get a spare nickel.
I'll give you one.
Well, you'll run out of them that way.
That's why I work in a bank.
Kind of hard on the depositors.
Your, friend's late, isn't he?
I can wait.
Maybe he forgot. You should have tied a string around his finger.
No, lady. He already had one around his neck. Well, she went back to copping nickels, and I sat down in one of the plush chairs and waited. 10:30 came, 11 came, Bender didn't. I began to get an uneasy feeling, like a bubble dancer with a slow leak. At 11:10, I couldn't take any more waiting, so I left to head for Bender's place. Outside the bank, a thin guy with a sharp head was hawking papers. I slipped him the nickel that the blonde had given me, and he handed me a Daily News. I wanted to see what a horse named Larry R. had done at Belmont, but I didn't get beyond the first page. Benda's picture was there, right next to Governor Dewey's, only Ben wasn't running for office. They found him in his room full of bullet holes. I guess he finally got a cure for that cough. I took my car out of the lot and headed for home. I mixed myself a tall one, and I was just getting to the bottom of it when a couple of guys kicked my door open.
Regan?
Yeah.
I'm Lieutenant Anderson, homicide. This is Sergeant Pinelli. Hi.
Don't you guys believe in knocking?
My knuckles are sore. Nice stuff.
Well, help yourself. It's out in the kitchen.
Don't drink on the job.
Pinelli?
Me neither.
You boys should have told me you were coming. I'd have called some girls.
Not on the job.
Pinelli?
I got a wife. All right, Regan, find your hat.
What for?
Well, you want to look nice. We're going downtown, you and me and Pete. Right, Pete?
Right, Andy.
No, it's too hot there.
We thought of that. We'll give you a nice, cool place, won't we, Pete?
Sure will, Andy.
You got a warrant?
No, we just figured you might want to tell us why you did it.
Did what?
Tell him, Pete.
Knock off Ben Bender and burn his feet.
You're out of your mind.
Regan, we know you saw Bender last night. We know you got out of a car on the corner and walked up to his place. We know you were the last one to see him while he was still alive.
You got a witness?
Pretty one. A girl told us.
Oh, you're trying real hard, Anderson, but you haven't got anything.
If you were the last one to see him alive, you're the first one to see him dead. That's how we figured.
Did you figure on a guy named Al Spandy who drives a black coupe?
I never heard of him.
And how about a dozen other hoods who knew Bender?
Now you're trying hard, Regan.
You haven't even got a foundation.
We got the whole building.
It'll never stand up.
We'll see.
All right, you tell me why I did it.
You private eyes get folders on bank jobs.
I get them from Charles Atlas, too.
Bender was in on an $80,000 heist 8 years ago. He went up for carrying a concealed weapon, but the money was never found. You know that the Imperial Bonding Company's offering $5,000 for the recovery of that dough.
You're lying.
Don't make any dates tonight. You're not going to be available.
All right. The Lion will tell you I was working on a case when I saw Bender.
Oh, we already talked to the Lion.
Well, what did he say?
He says he hasn't seen you for 5 days.
You are listening to the story of the Man with the Key, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. If you were a graduate registered nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, you may be eligible for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps section of the Regular Officers Reserve. These commissions are still available, and those who meet the high standards and qualify may elect active or inactive status. Those who request inactive status will continue with their civilian nursing duties but stand ready to serve in time of emergency. Nurses who elect active duty become commissioned officers in the regular Army. If you believe you qualify for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now back to the story of the Man with the Key and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, I had about as much chance as a violin player with no chin. Anderson and Pinelli took me down and locked me in one of the rooms upstairs. They didn't ask any questions. I guess they figured they had enough answers. Oh, it was a real nice fix. A dame named Dora King takes me to a con named Ben Bender. He slips me a hot key and says meet him in a bank at 10. I'm there on time, getting the phone number of a blonde named Claire, only Ben doesn't show. Somebody burns his feet and fogs him before he can keep the date. And then there's that black coupe registered to a question mark named Al Spandy. And then the Lion deals one from the bottom. Oh, it was a screwy picture, and I was right in the middle of the frame. Well, I spent the next 4 hours taking in some free entertainment from the drunk in the next cell.
Okay, Regan, on your feet.
Bastille Day?
You're sprung.
Well, I was getting tired of the floor show anyway.
Try and make it Saturday sometimes. That's our big night.
Or if I bring a date?
I get a phone. I got a phone, my wife.
guy ought to be at Ciro's.
Where do you think we picked him up?
Regan, I'm running out of patience with you. How many times have I told you to keep out of trouble?
Why didn't you tell him I was working on a case?
I went to a lot of trouble to get you out.
And you went to a lot of trouble to get me in.
That was easy. Still got that key to Bender's safety deposit box?
I got it.
Tomorrow morning at 10, you're at that bank getting into the box.
You're crazy. It's in Bender's name.
I'll teach you how to spell it.
I won't do it.
Homicide might like to know you got that key. Now, you listen to me and we'll both make dough.
Where I'd be, I couldn't spend it.
If the $80,000 from the bank job Bender pulled happens to be in that box, like I think it is, Imperial Bonding owes us $5,000 reward.
I don't like it.
You owe it to the company.
Now, listen, you. Bender was knocked off for this key. Whoever wants it might make another try.
Nobody knows you got it.
Well, I'll give it to you, and nobody will know you got it.
Regan, I'm giving you a chance to straighten yourself out.
That's right.
What do you mean?
I feel stiff already. Well, it was a triple play. Homicide to the Lion to the Black Coupe. I went home to wash off some of the jailhouse Lysol. When I walked in the front door, I had company. A gray flannel suit with a yellow tie was sitting on the edge of my bed. Both hands were full. The whiskey was mine. The gun was his. When he saw me, he set down the bottle and walked over and put the gun right against my neck. It felt cold, and I got kind of nervous, like a hula dancer in a forest fire.
Hiya, Regan. Been waiting for you.
You like my liquor?
I'm a rye drinker myself.
Well, bring your own next time.
That ain't being sociable.
You weren't invited.
Huh. How could I have been? You don't even know me.
You're Al Spandy. You drive a black coupe.
What'd I have for breakfast?
Egg, and it's all over your tie.
You look hot, Regan.
You have to hold that gun there.
Right there.
Same one you used on Bender?
The same. All right, now, gimme, Regan.
I told you, I don't have any rye.
Where's the key?
I don't use one. My door's always open.
I'm talking about that key you got from Bender.
I don't have it.
Do you hear any music?
Yeah, but I'll sit the next one out.
No, you won't. This is a men's cheat.
I'll step on your toes.
I don't mind. It's a polka, and I want to do it with you.
Oh, it was a long dance, but Spandy didn't get tired. I knew I wasn't going to last the evening out. And then I saw Dora King standing in the doorway back to Spandy. She was taking everything in like a Hoover vacuum cleaner on a dirty rug. She had a .25 in her hand, and she knew how to use it. Thanks for cutting in, lady.
I had to do it. He was killing you.
Yeah, I'll take the gun, huh?
You know I'd have to do it.
Yeah. Here. Go on, drink it.
Yes.
Now, you want to tell me all about it?
Yes. I wanted to tell you at first, but Ben wouldn't let me.
He's not around to stop you.
Do you think Spandy hurt him much before he killed him?
I wasn't there.
He was sick. He couldn't have taken much.
Why'd you tip the cops on me?
I thought you might have done it. Now I know different.
Tell that to Homicide.
I will.
You better. Spandy can't.
He's dead?
That's right.
You still don't trust me.
No, I don't.
I couldn't help myself once the gun went off. Big Ben was my father.
Yeah?
He didn't want anyone to know. All he wanted was to give me a break.
Why'd he hire me?
He was afraid.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Regan?
Yeah?
May I have the key?
I haven't got it.
You can get it.
Maybe. You know what's in that box?
I think so.
Or why don't I turn it over to the police?
That's my job. Like I told you. I'm Big Ben's daughter.
Yeah, lady. You convinced Spandy. Well, I called Homicide, and Anderson and Pinelli handled it. We all wound up downtown. It didn't take them long to find out that the gun Spandy used on me was the same one that killed Big Ben. Dora gave Anderson her story. He said it would take some fixing, but he could keep her out of the papers. It was justifiable homicide. She wouldn't even be indicted, but they had to hold her overnight. Well, it was almost daylight when I pulled to a stop in front of my apartment. I was beginning to feel a little better, but it didn't last long. When I walked into my place, it looked like the L.A. Dons had been having a scrimmage. Every corner had been gone over. Oh, it didn't make sense. Bender was dead, Spanty was dead, Dora King was downtown, but somebody still wanted that key. Well, I crawled into what was left of my bed and set the alarm for 9:30. I didn't sleep much. I kept seeing keys and faces and $80,000 bills. Ten o'clock the next morning, Dragnet 3408 was still sitting behind the same desk near the same safety deposit vault. She gave me the same look.
I waited for you to call last night.
I spent the nickel.
On a doctor?
I'd like to get into my box.
All right, Mr. Bender, sign here.
All right. There you are.
This way.
Looks like part of the new freeway.
One thing about a vault, it's quiet.
So's a tomb.
We're alone.
Yeah.
Well?
All right, Sunshine, open your eyes. My box number is 60B.
That can wait. I can't.
Easy, baby. You'll set off the alarm.
You and I can make a great team, Bender.
You know my name's not Bender.
What is it?
Regan.
You and I can make a great team, Regan.
That what you told Al Spandy?
Why bring up a dead issue?
What's your deal?
You got Bender's key, I got the bank's key. You need both of them to open up the box.
It's good so far. Go on.
Oh, there's $80,000 there. Let's not let it go to waste.
Big Ben waited 7 years to open that box. Look what happened to him.
I waited just as long as Ben, and 7 years is harder on a girl.
How'd you work it?
Ben and I had a great plan. I was the cashier Ben heisted. Only I just gave him a bag full of paper. The real dough's in his box.
Well, that's the safest way. Keep your money in a bank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when it cooled off, both of you go in and pick up the dough together.
That's the way it was supposed to work, only Ben was dumb enough to get himself picked up and tucked away for 7 years.
Oh, you made real good partners. Nobody trusted anybody.
I trust you.
That why you went through my place looking for the key last night?
Girls got to use their head. Besides, you might have been home.
Ben and Spandy are dead.
We don't have to worry about either of them. The money's still here. We got the keys that'll open the box. Can you add that?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
About 20 years.
What do you mean?
That bonding company will see that you get the full load for grand larceny.
You wouldn't turn me in.
Don't make book on that.
You and I'd make a great team, Regan. We can't lose.
That's what USC thought. Well, I called Anderson and Finelli, and they came out and picked her up. I rode down as far as the office with them. That wrapped it up. When I told the Lion what had happened, he was as happy as a college boy in a harem. He got on the phone right away and called up Imperial Bonding, told him to make out that reward check for 5 G's to Anthony J. Lyon. But he was real good about it. He took me for a ride in his new Nash convertible. Well, I guess he deserved it. He was really the patsy that had done all the heavy work ever since he bailed me out of jail. Because that's when I slipped Bender's key in his pocket.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. Jeff Regan, Investigator, written by E. Jack Newman and Larry Roman, produced by Sterling Tracy, is heard each week at this time over CBS. Tonight's cast included Ken Christie, Yvonne Patey, Marvin Miller, Paul Frees, and June Martell. If you are a graduate registered nurse, please listen carefully to this important message. 29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. All nurses who receive reserve commissions will benefit from the opportunity for specialized training offered to them by the Army. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of great advantage. For further information, drop a card to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Original music for this program is by Dick Aram. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
story you are about to hear is true.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary division. You get a call that an important piece of religious art has been stolen from the oldest church in Los Angeles. There's no lead to its whereabouts. Your job? Find it. To sell a product, you have to make it good and keep it good. What do the latest reports show about Chesterfield? Well, our research laboratory has compared it with the leading cigarettes in the country. Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine. Another good reason why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular or king size, you'll find Chesterfield really mild, really satisfying. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, December 24th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary division. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. I'd gone across the street to buy stamps for some Christmas cards I was sending out. It was 9:15 a.m. when I got back to room 45. Burglary. I sat down at a table in the squad room and I started to address the cards when Frank walked in carrying a stack of Christmas boxes.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Christmas cards, huh? A little late, aren't you?
Well, I was going to send them out Monday, but we had that stakeout.
You ought to get married, Joe.
Yeah?
It's the only system. Faye does all this stuff for me. Laundry, mails, cards. Only system.
Might help.
You got a big stack there.
Ought to cut down the list. Look at this here. Upholstery shop.
Yeah?
They send me a card every year. I never get anything upholstered.
Faye and I ought to go over our list. Cut off a few names. I brought in your present. Want to open it now?
No, I'll wait.
I always open a couple a day before.
Why?
Well, put you in the spirit ahead of time. I opened Phil's this morning.
Who's he?
Faye's brother in Denver. Gave me a magazine, one of those funny ones.
What do you mean, a comic book?
No, one of those funny ones, you know.
No, I don't, Frank.
Well, some of the pages have holes in them. You look through and there's a picture on the next page.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those on the newsstand.
They have cloth pasted in.
Cloth?
In the ads. If you want to buy a suit, they have a sample right there.
You mean you can feel it?
Reach right out and feel it. There was one for $200.
A suit?
Sure. Cloth comes from Scotland.
What's it made out of? Solid gold?
No, they got a special kind of goat over there. It's real smooth.
Not a goat, Frank. A sheep.
Well, it's a special kind of sheep, then, because a suit costs $200.
You going to get one?
I told Faye. She said, wear the sample. Anything doing?
Fanning and Pryor were in on that market holdup.
They come up with anything?
Pound of air. Nothing else.
I hope it stays quiet. I got more shopping to do.
I finished.
What'd you get in?
Stationery set, some paper and envelopes, leather binding.
Joe, you'll never learn.
Oh, what's the matter?
No woman wants a stationery set. Get her something personal.
Well, it's got her initials on it.
No. You want something more sentimental, romantic.
What'd you get Faye?
It's different in her case.
What'd you get Faye?
Sewing machine.
That's romantic.
Well, it isn't a way.
Why didn't you buy her a catcher's mitt? Burglary Friday. Yes, that's right. You have the right department. All right, Father, we'll be right down. No, you can tell us about it there. Goodbye. The old mission church, they've had a theft.
Collection money?
Statue of the child Jesus. Frank and I checked out of the office and rode over to the church at the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Main. The Old Mission Plaza Church, founded 1781, the year Los Angeles became a pueblo. The outside was typical early Spanish design, complete with mission arches. It was made of adobe and painted white. They called it the Queen of the Angels. The Padres from down in Mexico built it. The devout Mexicans in town still attended services there. 10:05 a.m. Frank and I crossed through the courtyard. It used to be the old stable, but the Spanish priest changed all that when it became a mission. Stonemasons paved the stable floor and made it a courtyard. They planted grapevines, trees, and flowers. A young priest crossed the courtyard to meet us. He'd been sitting on a stone bench reading his morning prayers, as priests had done here for 172 years. We asked for Father Xavier Rojas, who had communicated with us. We were told he was inside. We entered a side door. The church seemed to glow with the hundreds of votive candles flickering on both sides of the altar and at the shrines throughout the church. It was empty except for a few people praying. Surrounding the main altar were several old oil paintings in gold frames. The air was heavy with the scent of Advent flowers. We found Father Rojas up near the sanctuary, looking at the nativity scene. He told us about the crib. It was a $70 duplication of the scene at Bethlehem. The parishioners had taken up a collection for it 31 years ago. It was put up every year on December 22nd and taken down after the holy season. It was beautiful, except that one of the shepherds had lost an arm, the sheep was old and cracked, and the infant Jesus was missing. Father Rojas led us back into the sacristy.
I'm sorry to bother you, man.
It's all right, Father.
Especially now, the holiday season.
We cash our checks, Father. You want to tell us what happened? Or what you think happened?
I discovered the statue was missing right after the 6 o'clock Mass.
You say the 6?
Yes. I started over to the rectory and stopped by the crib.
Was the statue there before Mass?
I don't know, but it was there last night.
How late is the church open?
All night.
You leave it wide open so any thief can walk in?
Particularly thieves, Sergeant.
You say it was there last night, Father. How late?
10 or 11 o'clock. We had confessions.
No one saw it after that?
One of the altar boys. He says it may have been there. He thinks it was.
Did he see it?
He's not sure.
What's his name?
Pardon me. Here's the schedule. You'll find the names for every Mass there.
Was there a big crowd at the 6 o'clock Mass, Father?
Not too many. 7's the big one. People on their way to work.
Did anyone stay after Mass, did you notice?
Not especially. I came back here, took off the vestments. I suppose it was 10 or 15 minutes before I went back in the church.
It was empty then?
No, people were coming in for the 7 o'clock.
Are these the altar boys, James Cornine and Joseph Heffernan?
That's right. Joe's the one who mentioned it might have been there.
Did you check with the other priests, Father?
Before I called you. None of them knows anything about it.
Just for a check on the pawn shops, how much is the statue worth?
In money?
Well, that's the point in pawn shops, Father.
Only a few dollars. We could get a new one, but it wouldn't be the same. We've had children in the parish. They've grown up and married. It's the only Jesus they know.
We understand.
And we've had children who died. It was the only Jesus they knew. So many of the people who come here are simple people. They wouldn't understand, Sergeant. It would be like changing the evening star.
We'll do our best, Father.
That's why it would mean so much to have it back for the first Mass on Christmas.
It's not very long, Father.
Less than 24 hours.
If anything turns up here, you know where to get in touch with us.
Yes. Sad, isn't it?
How's that?
In so short a time, men learn to steal.
Yes, but consider us, Father.
Us?
If some of them didn't, you and I'd be out of work. 10:50 a.m. We notified pawn shop detail. Frank and I checked out the two altar boys. The first one, James Cornine, said he knew nothing about the missing statue. The second one, Joseph Heffernan, was not at home. His father said he had a part-time job, but he'd have him get in touch with us right after lunch. By 11:30 a.m., we'd run out of book procedure. We had a man to find. Our only clue, he'd been to church. 11:33 a.m. We checked the phone books for the names of religious stores in the area. 2 of them were closed. We tried the third. When we got there, the only person in the store was an elderly man sitting by a table. In front of him was a large, beautifully carved chess set. We're police officers. My name's Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
Great to see you. Caught me in the middle of a big chess match.
Where's your partner?
Up in San Jose. We've been playing for years.
Same match?
No, just 2 or 3 months on this one. What I meant was we've been playing different matches for years.
I see.
You know, we do it through the mail. I send him a move, he sends me one.
Must keep you on your toes.
Except during the holidays, the mail gets all fiddled up. That's no good.
Guess not.
Slows things down, that's no good. I like to catch him off guard.
You Mr. Flavin?
How do you know? We never met.
Your name's on the window out front.
Mr. Flavin, we checked the other 2 religious stores in this neighborhood. They're closed.
This is the best one anyway. 50% European items.
We're checking the stores around the Mission Church.
For what?
Statue of the child Jesus. Do you have one we could look at?
Sure.
No, sir, a larger one.
You don't want a larger one, unless it's for a church. That's why you want a larger one.
Could we see it, please?
It's not my due to butt in. But unless you live in a big place, this will make your living room all the kilter.
Yes, sir. Do most of the people who go to the mission church trade here?
Good many of them, especially the kids.
Why kids?
More religious. Check on yourself. See if kids aren't more religious than you.
Might be so.
That's what's wrong with the world. Oh, I don't mean you're wrong with it. Everybody.
Yes, sir. What if we could stick to the point, Mr. Flavin?
Sure. A lot of people from the mission church come in here.
Do people ever come in and sell back a religious article?
Like a prayer book or rosaries?
Yes, sir.
Second hand, you mean?
Yes, sir.
Not since I've ever been around. It's silly.
Why?
People don't have religious articles so they can get rid of them. They have them so they can have them.
But if a man had a statue and wanted to sell it, he'd come to a place like this.
Sure, but he wouldn't want to sell it.
He would if it was stolen.
No, sir. If a man was to steal a statue, he'd be crazy or something like that. The only place he'd want to go is where crazy people are.
You may be right, Mr. Flavin.
I don't know what you fellas are looking for, but if it's somebody who stole a statue, he's crazy and you won't find him. You won't find him as long as you live, or in a million years.
That should cover it. We checked religious stores out as far as Van Ness. We asked the same questions. The owners gave us the same answers, but none of them were as encouraging as Mr. Flavin. Frank and I had lunch and reported back to the office. It was 1:30 p.m. when we started into the squad room. The captain was just coming out.
I just checked for you in the lunchroom.
And we've been down on that theft at the mission.
Making some action on the Patterson case.
They locate him?
I think he's on the bus from Sacramento.
Well, that means the Bakersfield police.
We'll wait and see.
One of you fellas, Sergeant Friday?
He is.
I'm Joe Heffernan. My father said you wanted to see me.
Well, sit down, son. You didn't have to come in. A phone call would have worked.
My father said to get on over. He says that any kid that uses phones is lazy.
We want to ask you about it this morning.
You serve 6 o'clock mass?
Yes, sir. I'm senior boy, so I get the 6th.
You're a senior and you take the early trick?
Yes, sir. That way, if you receive communion, you get to have breakfast sooner.
Father Rojas says you think the statue was there before mass.
I didn't look, but I have a feeling it was there.
A feeling?
You know, how you have a feeling about something, but you're not sure.
Did you stay around long after mass?
I put out the candles and hung up my surplice.
How long would that take?
About 5 minutes, maybe.
Did any of the people at mass stay on?
Some always do, especially ladies.
Oh?
Maybe they don't finish in time, or else they start new prayers. I don't know.
So when you left, there were still some women there?
No, sir. That was at first. After I went back to the sacristy, there was only this one man.
What man?
He comes at 6 o'clock all the time.
Do you know his name?
No, sir. But he works down in Olive, paint shop, where they paint signs.
Could you describe him?
Sort of medium. He was wearing a suit that didn't match.
Didn't match?
Different pants than coat.
How about his age?
Oh, he's pretty young.
Take a guess.
About 40, maybe. There's nothing particular about him.
Then why'd you notice him?
I've seen him before. And the bundle, I guess.
The bundle?
Out in front. I saw him when he was coming out. He had this bundle, and he almost dropped it.
How large a bundle?
It's hard to say.
Come on, son. Was it large or small? The size of the statue?
About that big. Yes, sir.
We located the sign shop. The suspect didn't work there anymore, but we discovered his name was Claude Stroop. We found out where he lived. 2:25 p.m. We arrived there. It was a hotel for men, mostly old men, mostly down and outers. It was called the Golden Dream.
Police officers. We're looking for Claude Stroop.
Hope Claude didn't get in any trouble.
So do we. Is he in?
No. He's got room 307. You can check if you like.
We'll take your word. Were you on this morning?
Huh?
You have the early shift.
Well, we don't have shifts. My uncle owns the place. I'm the shift.
Did Stroop spend last night here?
Came in about 11.
When did he leave this morning?
Around 6, maybe before.
Did he come back after?
8 o'clock or so. Then left. Supposed to be back at 10. And pulls this trick.
What trick?
Our program. He knows the other fellas need him.
Program?
You're here at the hotel. Every Christmas we have a program. Put up a tree and sing. They're mostly old fellas. Singing like that makes them remember back when they were kids. Then Jimmy Finn comes on.
Jimmy Finn?
He shares number 409. His family once had a lot of money, so he tells the fellas about it. Stories about Christmas.
how they had this big log, and his grandfather used to start it up, and after dinner everybody turned over his plate, and there underneath was a $20 gold piece. Brand new one.
When Stroop came in this morning, did he have a bundle?
I didn't see him come in.
You said you saw him.
I saw him go out after, but not come in.
When was that?
8. If you want to look for a bundle, I could give you his key.
We don't have a warrant.
It's all right. I know about police. It's all right with me.
It's not with us.
I didn't mean that. I just meant it was all right with me.
Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen.
They were 3 old men. You couldn't tell how much better they would have been with Stroop singing the 4th part, but somehow you didn't care. This was Christmas at the Golden Dream, and it sounded fine.
Though the frost was cruel, when the poor man came in sight, gathering winter fuel.
This is the last rehearsal. They got most of the songs down pat.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that's why it's a shame Claude isn't here. He's tenor, and they need him to make it sound just right.
Does Stroop have a job?
No, sir. He used to have jobs. Not much lately, though.
Did he say where he was going?
No, he should have. The fellows need him.
When he comes in, will you call us?
Sure, and not say anything to him.
That's right.
I hope it's nothing serious for Claude. The fellow's troubles ought to be over.
Troubles?
Way back. It wouldn't count now.
Tell us anyway.
Well, I don't know much about it.
As much as you know. Now, come on.
It was something back where he used to live. He robbed somebody or something.
What else?
That's all. It was a long time ago, way far back. But he forgot it all, the robbing and everything.
No, not quite. He remembered it this morning.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. For Jesus Christ our Savior was born upon this day to save
We went back to the office and ran Stroop's name through R&I. If he'd been booked anywhere, we had no record of it, at least not under that name. 4:15 p.m. Pawn shop detail reported back. No object resembling the statue of the child Jesus had been turned in. 4:18 p.m. I hung up the phone.
Patterson's on that Sacramento bus.
I thought Bakersfield had it.
They were supposed to confirm. They did. Upward station.
What about Fanning and Pryor?
They're still out.
Well, they'll be back soon. When's the bus arrive?
6 o'clock.
There's plenty of time for them to make it.
There's more time for you.
We're still in that theft.
Can it wait?
No.
What is it, $10, $15 statue?
When's the price determine a case?
I realize it's a church statue, but that doesn't give it priority.
It's important to them, Captain. Joe and I promised to get it back.
What do you got on it?
Nothing much.
And why are you so big-hearted?
Burglary Friday. When? No. Don't say anything. No. Right. It's Claude Stroop. He just walked into the hotel. He's our suspect.
Nobody's leaked to him?
No.
You'll keep. You can run him down tomorrow.
We'll be too late then.
They need it for the first mass in the morning, Skipper. It's kind of a big thing for them.
I'm sorry. I can't juggle details around so you can get a statue back. If there's time later on, we'll do our best.
Yes, sir.
You better get over to the station.
Yes, sir. Will you call Father Rojas over at the mission?
Why?
Tell him we're too busy to work on that statue.
But we'll do it later. Tomorrow or when we get the chance.
Why can't you call him?
Well, we better get over to the station.
If Patterson's on that bus, we don't want to miss him.
All right, I'll call him.
Friday.
Yeah. I can send Fanning and Pryor over. You might as well stay on that other thing.
Whatever you say, Captain.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
There are good reasons why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Why Chesterfield is the largest selling two-way cigarette in America. Why Chesterfield is best for me and best for you. People these days want facts. When you want people to use your product, you have to tell them what effect it has on people who do use it regularly. That's why a doctor has examined for almost 2 years a large group of Chesterfield smokers. 45% of them have, on the average, been smoking Chesterfields for well over 10 years. What is the effect on these people from smoking Chesterfield? No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses, says the doctor. Consider Chesterfield's record with these smokers, with millions of other smokers throughout America. Another good reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Regular or king size, Chesterfield is best for me best for you.
4:43 p.m. We arrived at the Golden Dream Hotel. The desk clerk was right. Claude Stroop looked like a man who'd had his troubles at bargain rates. Your name, Claude Stroop?
Yes, sir.
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
I didn't do anything against the law. Honest, I didn't do anything against it.
You haven't been accused.
Want to take you downtown?
We'd like to talk to you.
No, sir, I'm not going. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to talk to anybody.
You're half wrong already. .15 p.m. We returned Stroop for interrogation. He kept his word. He refused to talk. 6:05 p.m. Frank called Fay, told her he'd be a little late. Stroop didn't move for a whole hour. He sat and stared, but he didn't talk. 6:40 p.m. We got a final report from pawn shop detail. The shops were closed. There was no statue. Stroop still hadn't talked.
Don't you ever want to go home, Stroop?
If I was to talk, he wouldn't let me go.
Depends on what you'd say.
I'd say it wrong, and I wouldn't get home.
You won't this way either.
I'd like to go. You can bet on that. This is the 7th year we had the program, and I never missed a one. Not a single one.
Why don't you tell us what happened, Stroop?
How would I know you'd let me go?
You wouldn't.
I might as well anyway.
All right, what happened from Mass on?
Well, there was Mass. I came out and started down toward the hotel.
Back up.
I left my stuff at the hotel, and then I picked up George's car. I didn't steal it. He said I could have it any time I wanted. Only this time I didn't ask him. I took it and started out.
Yeah.
I should have asked, but I just didn't. I went over to Grand Avenue for the Christmas bulbs for this fellow sells them secondhand. It was coming out of the lot that I did it.
Yeah.
The bumper must have caught the other car. Didn't leave too big a dent, but there was this long scratch. I got out and tried to wipe it off with my handkerchief. You know, spit on it like. Only it didn't do no good. I didn't think anybody saw. I don't know how you fellas found out about it.
I'll check auto records.
Right. Stroop, we didn't bring you down here to talk about that.
You didn't?
No. There's a statue missing from the church. The statue of the child Jesus.
You mean I took it?
You took a bundle out of church?
Yes, sir. That was my other pants for the program tonight. I had a place sewed up and there was a button on it. You can check. But I wouldn't take a statue.
I don't think you would either.
He's clear at auto records.
Go on home.
For the program? You mean it's all right?
Good night, Stroop.
Good night. Merry Christmas.
Where to? Well, I don't know. We could stay and work on it tonight.
Wouldn't do any good. We won't find it.
I don't think so.
No use kidding the priest. Build his hopes up.
Might as well go tell him now. Merry Christmas. 7:27 p.m. We found Father Rojas. Frank told him how it was, that we couldn't get the statue back by morning, but that we'd keep trying during the week. He said he understood. We told him we had to get on. As Frank and I started to leave, the doors at the main entrance to the church opened. It was a good 200 feet away. It was hard to be sure, but it looked like a small boy drawing a bright red wagon behind him. When he got closer, you could see he was no bigger than a pint of milk. He was a luminous-eyed little Mexican boy with a face as young as yesterday. The priest seemed to know him.
Paquito?
In the back of the wagon was the missing statue of the child Jesus. He picked it up gently and walked up to the priest.
Padre Rojas?
He just stood there, looking up at Father Rojas.
It's Paco Mendoza, the boy from the parish.
Ask him where he found it.
¿Dónde lo encontraste?
No lo encontré, lo cogí esta mañana.
He didn't find it. He took it.
Why?
¿Por qué?
Todos los años Paquito rezó por un camioncito rojo. Este año Paquito rezó al niño Jesús. Yo prometí al niño Jesús el primer viaje en mi camioncito.
He says all through the years he's prayed for a red wagon. This year he prayed to the child Jesus. He promised that if he got the wagon, the child Jesus would have the first ride in it.
¿Tendrá el diablo para llevar a Paquito?
He wants to know if the devil will come and take him to hell.
That's your department, Father.
No el diablo. Jesús ama a Paquito mucho.
We crossed over to the sanctuary. With the help of Father Rojas, the young boy replaced the infant Jesus in its rightful place, the crib in the nativity scene. Frank and I could have been wrong, but the small plaster statue seemed to approve. Mary, Joseph, the wise men, Gaspar, Melchior, Balthazar, the old shepherd, the young shepherd, the peasant, they all seemed to approve.
Vuelve a tu casa, Paquito.
The priest told the boy to go home. He took hold of his wagon and started the long walk out of the church. There wasn't much we could say. There wasn't much to say. We just stood there and watched him go. Halfway up, he turned to look back, and he went on out.
I don't understand how we got that wagon today. Don't kids wait for Santa Claus anymore?
It isn't from Santa Claus. The firemen fix old toys and give them to new children. Paquito's family, they're poor.
Are they, Father?
The story you have just heard is true. The names and locations were changed. Ladies and gentlemen, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, remember your cigarette dealer will be open right up to Christmas Eve, and he can take care of your last-minute shopping problems with Chesterfield's. Chesterfield's and the special Christmas carton featuring the covered bridge. And now, on behalf of the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company, there are over 6,000 wholesale distributors and 1,300,000 retail dealers, and of course all of us on Dragnet. We'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas.
This one's about Pete Kelly. It's about the world he goes around in. It's about the big music and the big troubles and the big 20s. So when they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's blues. Pete Kelly's Blues,
starring Jack Webb, with story by Jim Moser and music by Dick Cathcart.
My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. You'll find us at 417 Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. We got 35 cases of cut whiskey and a 7-piece band. We start every night at 10 and we play till 6 in the morning. It's not much, but the contract runs out in June 1924. After that, there's a place in South Chicago that may take us. In the meantime, we're working here on Cherry Street. The lease is made out to George Lupo. His brother gave it to him after the funeral. The kind of music we play started out as a backroom exercise in a little swamp stop called Myrtle Grove. LaRocca took his Dixieland band to Reisenweber's in New York. We got as far as Kansas City. It's no place to get off a train unless you're a sack of mail. Because around here, everybody works at the same job, staying alive. Half a buck buys a pair of socks, a spaghetti dinner, or a down payment on murder. The last night, everything turned sour about midnight. The town was down on its hands and knees trying to crawl through one of those Kansas City hot spells that blast by every third day. It was heat and headaches all the way. Our drummer, Nick, was dragging the beat, and I went bad 12 bars in on the Memphis Blues. Well, I figured we better cut the set short, so we started to fight our way through one chorus of Roses of Picardy. That's when the kid came in and stood by the bandstand. He was tall enough to see over a quart of milk with a face the size of a minute and just about as young.
All right, let's get off for a while.
Who's your friend, Pete? I don't know, but he must be tone deaf.
Mr. Kelly! Mr. Kelly!
Yeah, son.
I heard you play. You sound good.
We've been better. What's on your mind?
Father Cronin sent me to see you.
Are you doing a little missionary work?
Oh, no, sir, nothing like that. I'm an altar boy over there. Father calls me Little Jake.
I sure got you working the late shift.
I've been trying to get a hold of you all day. Father wants a favor.
Well, make it a small one. I'm all out of the big one.
And he just wanted to know if you could come by St. Timothy's and see him. He said tomorrow morning right after the 9 o'clock.
Okay. Tell him he keeps terrible hours. I'll be there.
Thanks, Mr. Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell the kid goodbye.
He knows his way out.
Should I go, Mr. Kelly?
See you, kid.
Yes, sir. Goodbye, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, goodbye, Jake.
You got someplace private? We'd like to talk.
This is my office.
Now listen hard, Bright Eyes. There's enough gun in this coat to blow you right through the wall.
I'll take your word for it.
We coming in nice and you get funny mouth. Now you got someplace we can talk?
I can't leave. I got to do a number.
Do it. We'll be right here about 10 feet from your stomach.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
You look sick, Pete. What's the matter?
I feel fine. Who's sorry now? Everybody ready? Let's go.
You proved it. Now let's go.
Yeah. Keep them going, Red.
How many shall we do, Pete? If this works out, about 10 minutes worth. Let's go. The alley will do. We need a favor, Kelly.
Yeah, there's a run on them tonight.
Give me the envelope, Dix.
Yeah.
You got an inside coat pocket, Kelly?
Come on. Either throw or pass the dice.
Hold him, Dix. Pull him up, Dix.
Come on.
Up. Yeah. Now, this is how. Here's an envelope. It goes in your inside coat pocket and it stays there until 6 o'clock tomorrow night. You don't open it, you don't mess with it.
What happens at 6 o'clock?
You'll be the first to know.
Well, I stood there in the alley and watched them walk away. Inside, Lupo was blowing up a storm. Something about paying for a 7-piece band and only having 6. Well, it wasn't worth trying to get back on the stand. I got a cab and went up to my room. I tried to get to sleep. It was no good. I got up. I was sick to my stomach. After that, I went to sleep. The next morning, I made a pass at some breakfast and tried to look through the sports page. Harry Heilman got 4 for 5 against the Red Sox, but that's all I read. That envelope had me. People have been taken out in alleys before, and they've been worked over. Usually they get something away from them, enough to give it to them. No matter how I tried to put it together, it wouldn't come out. Thin or fat, it wouldn't slice. I had the envelope, and I had to wait till 6 o'clock. Well, I gave up on the coffee, and I started over to see Father Cronin. It was a little after 9:30 when I started up the steps of St. Timothy's. I figured Mass was almost over, so I hung around in the vestibule for a couple of minutes, trying to look like a part-time bell ringer.
Hi, Mr. Kelly.
Hello, Jake.
Father's back in the sacristy, Mr. Kelly. He said for me to show you the way.
They move it?
No, sir.
All right, Jake. Show me the way.
This way, Mr. Kelly. Down this aisle.
Well, I guess I was too busy trying to act like I knew my way around to pay much attention to a fat, chunky little guy wearing a brown Borsalino hat. He stood up in a back pew a couple of aisles over. The church was empty except for the 3 of us. Little Jake found out about it just before I did.
Mr. Kelly, that man back there.
All right, mister. I'll take that envelope.
Jake, get out.
Mr. Kelly, look out! Look out!
Well, in Kansas City, you learn early to look for trouble. Any place, any time. But this is the first time it caught up with me in the middle of a church. The last 3 shots were a waste of money. Jake went down like young wheat in a hailstorm. When I grabbed for him, I hit my head in the base of a marble pillar. I lost the edge right there. By the time I hit the street, he was gone. I guess I covered every alley and street in the neighborhood. But it was like trying to wash a pail of dirty water. I don't know how much later it was when I stopped for a minute in an empty doorway and tried to remember what I was chasing. Well, a siren was crying off somewhere in the distance, and I started back for the church. The coroner's wagon was just pulling away as I got there. I didn't see Father Cronin around, so I went back to the rectory and rang the bell. He came to the door in his shirt sleeves. He stood there for a minute just looking at me. And then he motioned me inside.
In here. Sit down.
The kid, Father, little Jake.
He's dead. You want to blow by blow?
Yeah, I know, Father. I was there.
Sure you were there. You're always there. I should have known better than to call you. I should have known it meant trouble.
Oh, wait a minute, Father. This wasn't my party.
I called you here today to ask you a favor, Pete.
Yeah, I know.
You don't know. It's too late now. We were going to have an altar boys picnic tomorrow at Washington Park. I wanted you to play a little music for us. We won't be going now, Pete. We got a funeral instead.
Yeah. What do you want me to say?
Don't say anything, Pete. If you've got any private fights, that's your business. But don't bring your beefs into the church.
I never saw the guy before, Father.
Don't kid me. He didn't come in here to shoot little Jake.
Now, look, I know this is hard to understand.
You bet it's hard to understand. We've been over it before, but you ran with the same pack. You hung on to the same friends. You had it all figured out. Well, you figured this one, Pete. There's a 9-year-old boy on his way to the morgue. He took a gangster's bullet that you earned. Now you go ahead. Figure it.
I got this envelope.
I don't want an explanation. Take your excuses and peddle them where you need them. To the bootleggers and the gunmen. Take them to your crowd.
This envelope, Father, they shoved it in my pocket. I was out in the alley behind the club. 2 guys. They worked me over. I didn't think they'd try anything like this.
Neither did little Jake.
All right, Father, I told you I was sorry.
Go on home.
Why don't you stop cutting at me and say a prayer for that kid?
I would, but I'm too busy praying for people like you.
Well, you couldn't blame him. How do you explain away a dead kid lying in front of an altar rail? All I could offer was a 2-cent envelope in my coat pocket and a wild night in an alley. I started to walk back to my room. I tried to paste up some kind of an answer, but I got nothing. I was halfway home when the last breeze left town and went someplace to cool off. My clothes were soaking wet, and I decided to take a cab the rest of the way. I reached in my pocket, and all I had was 23 cents, so I kept walking. Sunday morning's the same in any town. Empty streets and everybody home trading the comic section and living off a Saturday night. You could live here all your life, and on Sunday morning you just got in town. It was about noon when I got to my hotel. I went up to the second floor and unlocked my door. They were sitting on the bed. Their coats were off, and they'd hung them on the back of a chair. The same two boys who'd given me the envelope last night.
A real hot room here, Kelly. You ought to move off this court.
Yeah, next time I'll get twin beds.
Is everything all right with that envelope?
It made a murder, mister. You take it.
Put it back in your pocket.
Now get this, both of you. There's a lot of something wrong here. I've had my turn. You find yourself another fall guy. There's a lot of inside coat pockets in this town. Look for a new one.
We like yours, and that's where it's going to stay. Now, you don't listen good. Me and Dex put it out last night, and you didn't pick up on it. We got you on board, and we'll tell you when to get off.
6 o'clock, boy. How long do you think this jag will last? Look, I'm cashing in. I've had enough.
What were you doing this morning, trying to pray your way out?
The priest wanted a favor.
I got it, Lon.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in. No, he's busy. From 2 to 5. Sure, come on up. Benny.
He went for it, huh?
On his way up. We're going to stay a while, Kelly.
Well, there's only 3 chairs. I'll make it easy for you.
Stay put, mister.
No, he's your friend. I'm checking out.
First time you've been right.
Well, it happened so fast I didn't even see his arm move. My knees buckled and I pitched forward. I don't know how long I laid there, but when I opened my eyes, the afternoon sun was almost gone. What was left of it was bleeding through a rip in the blind. Well, I could hear somebody breathing hard like a fat man on a hot day, and when I rolled over, I saw him. A tough prohibition agent by the name of Cage. The weather didn't make any difference to Cage. He always looked that way. His collar was wilted, and it looked like Arrow's first try. His necktie was pulled down, and the knot was twisted. The heat had worked him over so that the front of his shirt was splotchy and damp. Reminded you of a first grader's map of the world. He was sitting in a chair with his arms draped over the back and his head resting on his hands. He was smoking a Milo Violet, but it didn't help that much. His mouth was wound around a toothy grin, and he looked like a mountain lion who'd just eaten her young.
You can get up now, Kelly. You made your point.
Yeah, sure. How long you been here?
Long enough to fill out your booking slip. You're going to jail, mister.
What for? Sleeping on the floor?
For the dead guy on the bed. Who is he?
I don't know. How'd he get there?
You put him there after you shot him. Now get your hat.
Look, Prohibition's your racket. Dead bodies are out of your line.
Not when I find him in your room. Now let's go downtown. We'll both tell homicide. We'll find the details later.
Gage, you couldn't find yourself in a mirror. I didn't have anything to do with this, and you know it. I've been out for the last 3 hours. This happened after they slugged me.
Save it for the jury. All I know is I got a phone tip to check room 205. I come up here and I find you and a dead guy. That's all I need. You can dress it up fancy and make it look cute, but it still comes out murder.
There's enough liquor in this town to float it away, and you're wasting your time with a killing that's none of your business.
You're my business, big shot. Somebody put 2 pounds of lead in Benny's chest, and you're my pick.
Benny who?
Benny Davis. He worked for Mike Quinlan. You look pale.
Yeah, I'm just beginning to feel the squeeze. Mike Quinlan on one side and those 2 trigger men that you let walk out of here on the other.
You got it, and I'll be turning the handle.
Now, before you start worrying about your picture in the paper, you better turn up the 2 guys that were here with me.
That part of the same dream?
They gave me an envelope to hold for them. The price on it's going up by the minute. A 9-year-old kid died for it, and this guy here on the bed.
That's a good story. Do you write him down or just make him up?
Look, you got nothing on me, and I haven't got much time. I'm leaving you.
That's all right. I call downtown. The minute you hit the street, they'll pick you up.
In the meantime, you better come up with more than you got. They don't hang you in this state on a hunch.
I'm going to check this room over. I'll find all we need.
You couldn't find your head with both hands. Goodbye, Cage.
All right, you got till midnight, big shot, and then I'll be around.
Yeah.
I'll have it all set up. All we'll need is time to run the extra.
Well, I could have used a cold shower, but with Cage there, I didn't have the room to dry off. I went down the hall and headed down the back stairs. I figured even if Cage was right about calling downtown, I might have an edge if I moved fast enough. The sun was on the downgrade, but it didn't make any difference. He'd done a good job all day, and the heat was boiling up out of the ground. If I was going to come out at all, I had to have some help. So I started to look for the only honest guy I know, an ex-bootlegger by the name of Barney Ricketts. The only bootlegger in the country that went broke in 1922. He drank himself out of business. I phoned 8 different places and tried 4. Nobody'd seen him. I was about ready to give up when I finally found him sitting in the middle of a bourbon fog in a little Spanish joint somewhere on the edge of the East Bottoms. He was sitting at a back table trying his best to make time with a plaster bust of Queen Isabella.
P.G., my boy, you're just in time. I'm not quite certain, but I think the young lady here has a friend.
I gotta talk to you, Barney.
If you're any good at all with Spanish, now is the time. I was positive she'd loosen up on this second bottle of wine, but no, she's utterly uncharitable, and I think she's a picture of a perfect boy.
Yeah, all right, Barney.
To a member of the old Castilian school, there can be no excuse for the conduct she's exhibiting.
Yeah.
Why, do you know I was even good enough to buy her 3 rounds of Portuguese brandy? Imported, mind you. But what do I get for my pains? Not even a civil thank you.
All right, listen to me, will you,
I've
Barney?
been sitting here in the most gentlemanly fashion, sipping this delicate nectar and trying vainly to keep the party going. But does she help? No! I've talked to her about politics, medicine, literature, Keats, Byron, Shelley, Faith Baldwin. I've even talked about the weather.
Barney, she's a statue.
Oh, a simple oversight, Petey. It could happen to anyone.
Now, look, I'm in trouble.
Of course you're in trouble. You'll always be in trouble because you're a child of adversity, a son of scorn. The fates spit in your eye and you try to retaliate, but the wind's always blowing in the wrong direction. You're a lost leaf in the mortal storm, Petey. You're a pebble shaking a tiny fist at the mountain. You'd like to fight for some strange, fantastic cause, wouldn't you? But you can't find anybody your size. Men are too small and the gods are too big. Petey, you're lost.
Are you all through now?
Yes, what kind of trouble?
A pair of bum murder raps. Somebody slugged me in my room, and I woke up with a dead guy.
Dubious honor. You mentioned 2 murders.
One of them was an altar boy over at St. Timothy's. The other guy worked for Mike Quinlan.
The same Quinlan that controls most of the Canadian import here in town?
Yeah, that's him.
Time's short. Let's finish the brandy.
2 guys started all this at the club last night. Names are Ludd and Dex. Mean anything to you?
This'll all sound better with more brandy. You picked 2 of Quinlan's first string. Ludd Sandell and Dex Porter, both killers.
Look, they gave me an envelope to hang on to. Now, nose around. See if you can find out what it all means. The dead guy up in my room, his name's Benny Davis. See if you can find out where he fits in, will you?
It'd be a lot simpler if you just joined Quinlan's gang. Benny Davis holds a card in the same organization.
Well, how about Ludd and Dex? Any bad blood between them and
If
Davis?
there is, it doesn't show. They're closer than unborn peas.
You sure about that, Barney?
Police blotter can't be that wrong. Benny's sister will tell you the same thing.
Where do I find her?
Chelsea Apartments. Beautiful girl, Petey. When you're my age, she'll disturb your memories.
All right, now get going, will you? See how close you can get to Quinlan's headquarters. Find out what you can about Ludd and Dex and Benny Davis. Maybe Quinlan's got him on a special job or something. Find out what it is, will you?
You'll find me in a temporary economic slump, Petey. I'll need car fare.
Yeah, well, that makes 2 of us. I'm broke. You'll have to do it on foot.
Oh, well, I have friends here, and my credit's unlimited.
Well, hurry up, will you, Barney?
One moment. Alfonso, would you loan me $1.50?
Come on, let's go.
He's only bluffing. He won't shoot.
Well, Barney headed down toward Bale Street from Mike Quinlan's place, and I started cross town for the North End and the Chelsea Apartments. I couldn't begin to work it out. If Dex and Ludd were such good friends with Benny Davis, why did they kill him? And if they didn't do it, who planted his body in my room and why? Well, I was running way late, and there wasn't much time to catch up. I finally found the Chelsea Apartments on the corner of Stocker and Bales. It was an old 3-story wooden frame. I checked the mailbox, and Louise Davis was down for apartment 17. Well, inside, the hallway was dark, and a couple of gas jets were smoking up the ceiling. There was a potted palm by the foot of the stairs, and it looked like it was growing out of old gum wrappers and cigar butts. Apartment 17 was at the rear of the first floor. She answered the door, and you could tell right away Barney was right. She was pretty, and she had enough smile to last you for years.
Yes?
You Louise Davis?
That's right. I can do better for you. You're Pete Kelly. I've heard you play.
Yeah, well, so far you're batting 1,000. Can I come in?
Yeah, sure. You didn't bring your band, so it must be a social call.
I'll make this short. It's about Benny.
What about him?
That's what I want to know. He's got a couple of friends. I got to know about him.
Then he isn't that popular. You mean Ludd and Dex?
They'll do. They got trouble, and they're cutting me in.
What kind of trouble?
No, I'm not sure. That's why I came to you.
I can't help you. They never tell me what they're doing.
Well, they gave me an envelope. They told me to hold it till 6 o'clock tonight.
You haven't got any problem. You'll know in an hour.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm tired. I want to know now. I'll take any leads you got.
They found out I told you this. They might not like it. They got some kind of a beef with Quinlan.
Does Mike know about it?
I wouldn't know. I just heard him talking one night. They're not happy with the money Quinlan gives them.
They got any plans?
I don't think we better talk about this. Let me get you a drink, huh?
Now, look, this is the last trip around for me, lady. I got to have everything you know.
You said something about an envelope, didn't you?
That's right.
You got it?
Right here.
If you open it, you'll understand everything.
Well, they gave it to me sealed. They want it back the same way.
If you want to be around to give it back, you'd better open it.
You got a guarantee handy?
All I know is the 3 of them are working on something big. I don't know what it is, but I heard some talk about an envelope. It's your choice. You asked for a lead and you got it.
Yeah, we'll hold hands when they cut me down. You got a letter opener?
Pete, look out!
Well, it all happened faster than a Mexican divorce. Louise Davis was dead before the echo left the room. Well, I got to the window, but whoever did the shooting was gone. I grabbed the envelope, and on my way out, I took another look at her. There wasn't anything left but the smile. I cut through a couple of back lots and down an alley. I stopped in the doorway and opened the envelope. Inside was a handful of typewritten sheets. Looked like a lot of headache for 5 pieces of paper. And then the bell rang. 2 of them were consignment slips for 8,000 gallons of high-grade Canadian whiskey. The other 3 slips were detailed breakdowns for a convoy of trucks. They showed special truck routes over the Canadian border into the States to miss the hijackers and the prohibition agents. They showed a day-by-day schedule for each truck on its trip down from the border. Well, it's not too tough to hijack a load of booze, but when you got it laid out right down to the time, the place, and how many bottles, it's like money in the bank. Well, I knew right then why the envelope meant so much to Ludd and Dex. What I couldn't understand was where they got it. Why they gave it to me to hang on to. Well, maybe they were working for Quinlan, but why didn't he have the papers, and why weren't they in his safe? Mike had a big one. Well, the questions were still piling up. There was an outside chance, but I couldn't stand still, so I crossed over to the Kansas side and headed down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place. Maggie Jackson did 2 things good. She sang the blues better than the guy who wrote them, and she could pick up an idle rumor at 3 miles.
Hi, Pete.
Maggie, what do you know?
I knew you'd be here tonight. You always come in together. Trouble and Pete Kelly.
Yeah, I know. I never come around except when I need something.
As long as I have it to give, you got it. It's Mike Quinlan this time, ain't it?
Well, that's part of it. I'm in it up to my ears.
You got an envelope, I heard.
Yeah?
Mike Quinlan and some of his boys have been here about an hour ago. They tore the paper off the walls looking for you and Dex and Ludd.
Dex and Ludd?
Mike wants all 3 of you.
Yeah? Anything else?
No. Barney Ricketts called for you.
Did he leave a number?
He's still waiting on the phone. I took the call. He said you'd end up here, so he just hung on.
Well, I'll get it right now.
Yeah, the boss is kind of mad. The phone's been tied up for 2 hours.
All right, thanks, Maggie.
Sure, and good luck, Pete.
Hello, Barney?
There you are, Petey.
That'll be $1.25 for another 3 minutes.
Yes, all right, operator. Alfonso, 5 more quarters, please. No, the quarters. Just a minute, Petey. Alfonso does another quarters from the house.
Yeah, well, hurry up.
Thank you.
Now then, Pete. No, Alfonso, no more money for the moment.
What's going on, Barney? Where are you?
Fort Madison, Iowa. I'm troubleshooting for you, Pete.
Well, what'd you find out?
It's a double cross. Mike Quinlan's involved in one of the biggest deals of his career, and Benny Davis, along with Dex and Ludd, stole the consignment papers.
Yeah, I know. That's what's in the envelope.
You better get them back to Quinlan. I understand he's been tearing up the town for him.
Well, what do I do about Dex and Ludd?
She might easily end up like Benny Davis. Seems Ludd and Dex didn't want to split it 3 ways, so they killed him.
You sure about all this?
That's why I'm up here in Iowa. I suggest that you join us.
No, I'll see you when you get back.
It's been a gay, mad world, Petey. We drove 60 miles an hour all the way up here.
Yeah?
Alfonso's drunk. He thinks the phone's his slot machine. He's waiting for the payoff.
Well, as soon as I hung up the phone, everything fell into place. I had one big worry, to get back to the club and unload those papers before Quinlan caught up with me. Well, almost everything made sense now, except the killing of Louise Davis, Benny's sister. It was easy to see why they dropped Benny along the way, but why his sister? How did she tie in? Well, on the way back to town, I mulled over a couple of possibilities, and I figured maybe I came up with the answer. I started back for town, and it was rough all the way. I kept thinking any minute I'd bump into Mike Quinlan, and I couldn't be sure that I'd lost Dex and Ludd. It was almost dark by the time I got back to the club. The band was waiting around for the Sunday rehearsal. We ran through one number, and then things got cloudy.
Now, Kelly.
You're early, Dex.
Close enough.
No, not for me. You said 6 o'clock.
Your horn's no match for this gun. Give me the envelope.
6 o'clock, Dex. All right. Let's try someday, sweetheart. Hand me that plunger, will you, Red? I'll give you the pickup. pack up. I'll see you at 10.
You gonna give me that envelope, or do I blow it out of your pocket?
The same way you handle Louise Davis?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you do. You killed her and you killed her brother.
You got it all figured out, haven't you,
Go on, player's right, Dex. Don't turn around.
You got it wrong, Lud.
I don't think so. I never should have let you kill Benny. That should have been the tip-off, and that kid in the church and Benny's sister. You had to make the big try.
What's for me and you, Lud?
It won't wash. You're going to die, Dex. Pick a spot to lay down.
Not in the back, Lud. You'd give me a better chance than that.
Would I?
Look out, Lud.
Like I said, Dex, pick a spot. Well, that wraps it up, Kelly.
You better sit down, Lud.
No, this'll do. It won't be a long wait. I don't mind standing.
Suit yourself. 6 o'clock, Lud. Here's your envelope.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hello, Pete.
Hi, Father.
Just going to stop by. I heard the gunshots and knew you'd be around.
Well, let me tell you again, Father. I'm sorry about Jake. I don't know what else to say. I'm just sorry.
I believe you. We'll have the funeral for little Jake tomorrow. Maybe you want to stop by.
Yeah. Some things never figure. A 9-year-old kid shot down. No reason for it. None in the world. 9-year-old kid.
It's done, Pete. Don't waste your pity on little Jake. He's got a big lead on both of us.
I don't get you, Father.
You and I should die as good as a 9-year-old.
Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Jim Moser and music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock.
The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven consists of Dick Cathcart on cornet, Matty Matlock on clarinet, Nick Fatul on drums, Ray Sherman on piano, George Van Ness on guitar, Judd Donat on bass, Mo Schneider on trombone. The songs of Maggie Jackson were written by Arthur Hamilton. Pete Kelly's Blues is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Dragnet. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. An organized gang of thieves is working in your city. Their method of operation is clever and fast. There's no lead to their identity. Your job? Stop them.
It was Tuesday, May 7th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:46 a.m. when we got to the corner of Beverly Boulevard and Fountain Streets. The Brighton Arms Apartments.
12A, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Want to try it again?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Miss Anderson?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, yeah, come on in.
Thank
you very much, ma'am.
Sit down. I'll put some coffee on.
All right.
That's the only way to do it, Joe.
What?
Coffee grinder here.
Well, that's what it is, huh?
Yeah. You buy the coffee beans and you grind them up as you need the coffee, real fresh. I'm going to get Fay one of them. Great gadgets.
Yeah, guess so.
You never tasted coffee that fresh, Joe. Whole different flavor.
Well, if you say so.
Yeah. Wait till I get Fay one. You'll be asked over for the first pot of coffee.
That's nice.
You got a match?
Yes, ma'am. Here.
It's about the burglary, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. A couple of questions we'd like to ask.
Go ahead.
We've got the report you gave the officers last night. Now, this list of stolen property, I wonder if you'd look at it and see if it's right. Here you are.
Diamond watch. Yeah. The mink. Yeah, that's it. It's the mink that's important. Took me 3 years working to get that. Sure hope you bring it back.
Yes, ma'am. We'll try. Have you got any ideas as to what time the theft might have occurred?
Well, near as I can figure, it must have been around midnight.
Why do you say that?
Well, I got home from work about 11:30. I'm a hostess in a restaurant downtown.
Go on, please.
Got home. The coat was still here. I hardly ever come into the house without checking on it. You know, it's the only real thing of value I got.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, there it was, hanging in the closet. I went out to have a cup of coffee and pick up the papers before I went to bed. Whoever took it must have been waiting outside. He saw me leave and then came in.
Why do you say he?
Hmm?
Well, you said he must have been waiting.
Oh, I didn't mean anything special. You know, just a word.
I see. Did you see anybody in the vicinity when you left the house?
No. Not that I can tell about now. The corner's a pretty busy place, Sergeant. Lots of people around there. A couple of restaurants. Always a lot of people around.
I wonder if we could see how they got in, please.
Yeah, right back here. Here, you see, they cut the screen on the porch door and then just reached in and opened it.
Top half of the door. You had it like this, did you?
Yeah, you see, you just flip these two little things and the glass part of the door comes out. Always take it out on warm nights.
Anything else in the apartment disturbed?
Not that I could tell. Seems that they just went into the bedroom and took the coat. That and the watch and the other stuff. But it's the coat that's important.
Yes, I understand.
A mink coat means something special to a girl. I told you it took me 3 years of saving before I could buy it. It's a long time to do without things, Sergeant. An awful long time.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, we had the coat 3 days, and this happens. Just 3 days. Hardly even had a chance to wear it.
Is the coat insured?
I think so.
Ma'am?
Well, I just got it. I think it's insured. I have to check with the salesman. I told him I wanted the coat covered. Boy, I just hope it's in effect. Beautiful coat. Just beautiful. Silver blue. Cost me almost $4,000. Come right down to it, that's about $1,000 a day.
We have the serial number here for the watch. Now, is there any way you could identify the coat for us?
Certainly. All I have to do is look at it. I can tell.
Well, yes, ma'am. But is there any mark, any type of label that would help us in identifying?
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Well, there's the store label. You could tell by that.
Oh, that's probably one of the first things the thieves will take off.
Well, I suppose so. Well, there's my initials. They can't get those out.
Ma'am?
I got my initials on some of the pelts. Had it done when I got the coat. Had it marked right on the skins under the lining. My initials, J.A. You could be able to tell from that.
Could you draw the initials for us?
Yeah. Wait a minute. I'll get a piece of paper.
Right here, Miss Anderson. You can use this.
Oh, thanks.
This pencil.
Okay. Well, you see, it's sort of like this. J.A. Like that.
Would you draw the coat and show us where the initials are?
Sure. You see, here's the sleeve. Then the body part comes down like this. The hem's here. And the initials are right there.
All right, Miss Anderson. This is exactly how the initials are.
Oh, there goes the coffee. Can I give you a cup?
No, thanks.
No, thanks.
Well, excuse me a minute, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you really think you're going to get it back?
Well, we're going to try.
Did the men who were here last night get any clues?
Beg your pardon?
The men who were here last night, did they find anything that'd help?
Not a great deal, no, ma'am.
Well, I sure hope they find my coat. I just hate to think about it.
What's that, ma'am?
All that time. 3 years working to save for a coat. Then just to have it 3 days. You know how the models in the magazines kind of drag a mink coat along the ground? You know, sort of over their shoulders?
Yes, ma'am, I guess so.
Well, I just had it 3 days, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't even learn how to do that.
Reports of similar burglaries had been coming into the office for the past 6 weeks. In each one, the method of operation was similar enough to let us know that we were dealing with the same thieves. All of the homes that were prowled were residences. The owners of the houses were always absent. Entrance to the places was made through a rear window. In those cases where the window was open, the screen was cut. Where the window was locked, the pane of glass was broken, and the entrance made that way. The classification of goods stolen was also the same in all of the burglaries. Pieces of jewelry, whatever money was found, and fur coats. The only room prowled was the one where the fur coats were kept. None of the valuables in the rest of the house would be touched. Bulletins had been gotten out to all of the pawn shops in the area on the stolen pieces, but there'd been no replies. The M.O. had been checked with the staff's office, and the possibles that they came up with were checked out. We failed to come up with a suspect. The investigation of the crime lab on the scene had produced no tangible evidence. Frank and I had gone over the burglary reports time and time again, trying to find something that would tie the thefts together. None of the victims were acquainted with each other. They all lived in different parts of the city. The coats were bought from different retailers, and yet within a week of the time the coat was purchased, it would be stolen. Friends of the victims were checked. In most instances, we found that they didn't even know the victim had been in possession of the article stolen. On the night of May 6th, another burglary was reported. Among the stolen articles were a mink stole and a full-length natural mink coat. The coat had been purchased only 3 days before the theft. The victim had worn it in public only twice. After going over the physical evidence at the scene and talking with the woman, we were no further than we had been. Saturday, May 11th, Frank and I checked into the office.
Another one that doesn't go anyplace.
Yeah, you want to get the reports out?
Yeah. You know, Joe, there's got to be something to tie them all together, something in common.
Well, if we come up with that, maybe we got the answer.
You see the bunch down by Chief Brown's office when we came in?
Yeah?
I recognize one of them.
Yeah, who?
Insurance man. They'll most likely be down here when we get through talking to Chief Brown.
What's it figure the thefts have cost them?
A little under $47,000.
Well, you stand that kind of loss, you'd do some yelling, too, wouldn't you?
Suppose. Funny now the stuff's turned up.
Well, it isn't doing them any good unless they sell it. I get it. Burglary Friday. Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. What's your name? What? No, where are you now? Mm-hmm. All right. No, we'll be right over. Right. Well, maybe we got one.
Yeah?
Woman says she wants to talk to us about a stolen fur coat. The woman gave the name of Wilda Chandler. She said that she had some information for us and asked us to meet her in a bar at the corner of St. Andrew's Place and Las Palmas Avenue. It took us 23 minutes to get there.
See her?
No, we better ask the bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Is there a Miss Chandler here?
Chandler?
That's right. She just called. Said to meet her here.
Might be her in the back booth. Didn't give no name. Back booth.
Thank you.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
If it's her or your friend, will you do me a favor?
What's that?
Try to get her out of here.
What do you mean?
Get her out of here. All she's been doing is sitting back there playing that song. Playing the song, ordering doubles. We ain't got a girl in here this time of the morning. I got to carry the orders back to her. Got a lot of other stuff to do.
All right, we'll see about it.
Well, if you can't get her out, at least talk her into sitting up here at the bar so I don't have to walk, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Miss Chandler?
Sit right down, boys. Been expecting you.
This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
You just bet you. Glad to meet both of you. Talked to you on the phone, didn't I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll never forget a name. How about a drink for you two boys?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Should have a couple. Seems to make everything a lot better. I may have several more.
You said something about some information on some stolen fur coats, is that right?
Yeah, and I got it. Oh, Max, he's going to be sorry.
Old Max?
Hear that on the jukebox? Melancholy mood. Hear it?
Yes, ma'am.
Our song.
Is that right?
You just betcha. Old Max, our song. Partner that goes, gone is every joy and inspiration. Tears are all I have to show. No consolation. Old Max left me. Tears in his fur coat.
Uh-huh. Who's Max?
You fellas sure you don't want a drink?
No, ma'am.
No, Max, just the tears in the coat. See? This is it. What do you think of it?
It's very pretty.
Well, that's a lie. It's a lousy coat, and you know it.
You want to tell us about the stolen coats, please?
Here, I've been working for Max almost 2 months, and I just found out. Guess you think that's pretty dumb, huh?
Well, maybe if you tell us about it.
2 months. Matter of fact, I just got the message last night, Friday, May 10th. 1:22 a.m., if you want to be exact. That's when I got the message about old Max.
Now, look, miss, you called us and said that you had some information on some coats. Now, I wonder if you'd be kind enough to tell us about it.
You just betcha. Would you put this in the jukebox for me? Play number B7. Huh?
Yes, sir. B7, huh?
Yeah, melancholy mood. Old Max and my song. You know what? These are no good. A real no good.
This Max, has he got something to do with the burglaries?
You just betcha. Old slick Max, he's a pistol.
Yeah.
Say, how about a drink?
No, thank you.
I didn't mean for you, for me.
Suppose you tell us about Max and the furs, would you, please?
If that's the way you want it. Max is a thief.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you know him?
I don't know.
A thief. Worked for him 2 months, even thinking about marrying him. All the time he's a thief.
What's Max's last name?
Barrett. Well, thanks for playing the song. It's real nice.
That's B7.
What about this Max?
Told me how I was going to wear mink, and this is what I end up with.
Now, look, Miss Chandler, if you have some information for us, we want to hear it, but we haven't got time to sit here and keep you company.
You think it's all a gag, huh? You just think I'm lonely, so I called you. That's what you think, isn't it?
Why don't you tell us?
Well, it isn't a gag. I can tell you all about the coats, all about them.
Yes, ma'am. That's why we're here. Would you go ahead?
Well, I'm a hat checker on a restaurant out in the country. It's a good racket. Got the job about 3 months ago. Doing real well at it. Then I meet this Max 2 months ago. Old Max walks in.
Yes, ma'am.
Gives me the big pitch. How he thinks I'm so pretty, all that kind of stuff, you know?
Go ahead.
Well, he really piles it on. How he's got a big deal cooking, and as soon as it comes through, him and me's going to get married. Tells me that while he's waiting for the deal to gel, he's selling insurance. Old Max selling insurance. Pretty funny, huh? Well, he tells me that the hardest thing about selling insurance is the contacts. You know, getting to meet the people who need it. Contacts.
Yeah.
And that's where I come in. You see, old Max, he doesn't sell insurance on people, not like on their lives. He doesn't sell that kind.
Mm-hmm.
He sells what they call personal property insurance on things like rings and coats, stuff like that. You with me?
Yes, ma'am, so far. Go ahead.
Well, he tells me that if I'll help him with his contacts, he'll cut me on his percentage. Says all I have to do is tell him when some woman comes in with a new coat. Her name and address, and he'll go see her and make the sale. It's me simple. All I got to do is get the names and addresses.
Did you do it?
Sure. How dumb can you get? I gave him the names and addresses. I knew there was anything wrong.
Can you tell us what names you gave him?
I got every one of them. Got them at home. You can have them.
Why'd you find out he wasn't an insurance salesman?
Last night, 1:22 a.m. I wasn't feeling so good, so I took off from work. Went by his place. Old Max was just coming in. Got the car parked out by his garage. The backseat is loaded with fur coats, all kind of other stuff. Watches, jewelry. That's when I knew he was a no good. Oh, Max, a pistol. A real no good.
Yes, ma'am. What happened?
Well, I asked him about the stuff, where he got it.
Yeah?
He told me all about it. How he'd been stealing. How all the names I'd been giving him were his sucker list. How as soon as I'd given the information, he'd lift the stuff. All that time. 2 months, and I figured he was an insurance salesman.
You know what he's doing with the coats?
What?
Was he selling them?
Sure. He's got a regular order business. You call up and order a blue mink coat. If you want a platinum stole, just call Max. You'll have it.
Is he disposing of it here in L.A.?
Not old Max. He's too smart for that. Ships the stuff east.
Is that right?
Didn't I just tell you it was? You just betcha. Max gets an order, and he goes out and he sells it. Then he gets a hold of some young kid and offers him a trip to the east. Maybe Chicago, Detroit, New York. Wherever the delivery's supposed to be made. Gives the kid a plane ticket and sends him on the way.
The carrier know what he's doing?
Oh, no. Max just gives him a suitcase and tells him where to deliver it.
How'd you find out about the operation setup?
Old Max, he told me. Said that since I found out, he'd have to cut me in. Give me all the scoop.
Barrett ever been arrested?
I don't know, maybe.
You any close friends in town, do you know?
I guess. Never saw none of them myself.
You want to show us where he lives?
Sure. I want to see him get his. After the way he lied. Ain't nothing too bad for him. Oh, Max, a pistol.
He sell all the stolen goods?
What do you mean?
Well, do you know where the stolen coats are and the rest of the things?
Must be in his apartment. Can't think of any other place it'd be. Gotta be there.
Do you know if he's there now?
He should be. He don't ever get up before noon. Should be there. I just want to see you get him. Lousiest trick in the world what he did to me.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, that time him stealing those coats. Oh, that beautiful mink. Look at this.
Yes, ma'am. That's a very pretty coat.
I thought so, too. Take a close look. Old Max gave it to me to show he was on the level. Take a good look.
Yeah?
All that mink, and he gives me rabbit.
Before we left the bar, we put in a call to R&I asking if Max Barrett had a police record. The office told us that there was none in our files. We asked that a teletype be sent to George Brereton at the CII office up in Sacramento. We also had the name Wilda Chandler checked. She had no record in Los Angeles. 11:20 a.m. We got Barrett's address from the Chandler woman, and then we called a radio car. The officers took her to the city hall where she could make a full statement. Frank and I drove over to Barrett's apartment. Wilda Chandler had told us that the suspect drove a late-model Pontiac sedan. We found the car parked in the garage in the rear of Barrett's address. A preliminary search of the garage and of the car failed to turn up any evidence of the thefts. 11:46 a.m. Frank and I went up to see Barrett.
I'll get it.
Probably still asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it?
Like to see you.
Just a minute. Yeah?
You Max Barrett?
Yeah, who are you guys? What do you want?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Get out. Hold it.
All right, now come on your feet, Barrett.
What's this all about, anyway? What are you guys doing breaking in here like this?
You want to check the closets, Frank?
Right.
You got no right to come in here and do this. What are you looking for? I got nothing to hide.
You didn't act that way when we came in, did you?
How'd I know you were real cops? You read all the time in the papers how guys say they're cops and then break in and rob people. That's what I thought you were. Phony cops.
We showed you our identification, didn't we?
Well, how'd I know it was real? I never been mixed up with the law before. How'd I know you were really cops?
How about it?
Place is clean.
Sure, it's clean. What'd you expect to
All right,
find?
come on, get dressed. We're taking you downtown.
For what?
We want to talk to you.
Any talking you got to do it here. I'm not going any place with you.
You just keep believing that, mister, and I get your clothes on. Come
What
on.
are you arresting me for?
Suspicion of burglary.
Are you serious?
Get dressed.
Okay, you take me in, book me. But you're going to be in real trouble, cop, because there's one big problem.
Yeah?
You can't prove it.
12:10 p.m. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout on Barrett's apartment in the event any of his associates contacted him. We asked his landlady about his friends. She told us that as far as she knew, the suspect was an insurance salesman. She said that he told her that because of his type of business, it would be necessary for him to keep late hours and that he didn't want to be disturbed during the day. We searched his apartment and his garage, but we were unable to turn up any of the stolen merchandise. We took him down to the city hall and got off all station radiograms with special attention to the police departments in Chicago, Detroit, and New York, giving them descriptions of the suspect and of the stolen property. We asked that their pawn shop details check the outlets in their cities. 3:15 p.m. We had Barrett brought to the city hall, and we talked to him in the squad room.
Okay, you made the boo-boo. Now, how are you going to get out of it?
What do you mean?
Well, you've had the chance to check my record. You know I'm clean. How are you going to get out of having me sue you?
You got a job?
Yeah.
What do you want?
I'm an insurance salesman.
What's the name of your company?
What do you want that for?
We want to talk to him.
I don't want you calling them. They find out I'm down here. Before I get a chance to tell them about it, I'll lose my job.
You kind of got this thing a little mixed up, haven't you?
What do you mean?
You've been trying to sell us how innocent you are all morning. Yet every time we ask a question, you give us a smart answer. Now, if you haven't got anything to hide, why don't you come off it and tell us the truth for a change?
I'm doing that.
When?
What company you work for?
I'm not going to tell you.
This rate book we found in your car. This the one? Great Southwestern Life, that it?
Why don't you call them and find out?
We did. They say they never heard of you.
Then it isn't them, is it?
What are you doing with the rate book?
That illegal, too?
Where'd you get it?
Friend of mine. I like to check the prices of other companies, keep abreast of things.
What's the friend's name?
You know I'm not going to give you that. Hey, who put you on to me anyway?
You said it yourself. We're not going to tell you.
But it was that Wilda broad.
Who?
Who's playing cozy now? Wilda Chandler. She's the one who told you to pick me up, isn't she?
Does she have a reason to do that?
She might think so.
Why don't you tell us about it?
I tried to help her out, give her the chance to earn some extra money. Told her I'd give her $5 for every prospect she turned over to me who bought some insurance, and it worked good for a while. Then she started boozing it up. Got to be a real lush. Couldn't trust her anymore. She was giving me a list of bad names, making them up. I had to get rid of her.
Yeah?
Gave her a coat and called it quits.
How about these names she gave you? You got a copy of them?
No. Turned out they weren't any good, so I threw them away.
Frank?
Yeah?
You get that list?
Yeah, here you go.
Listen to these. See if they sound like the people Wilda told you about. Pauline Bunnell, Myrtle Briggs, Mrs. Mildred Carlson, Miss Jane Anderson, Alice Beckworth. How about it? You recognize any of them?
She's the one, isn't she? Oh, lousy bush. She's the one who told you, isn't she?
Recognize the names?
Yeah.
Every one of those people have had a burglary in their house in the last month. There's a lot more names. Why don't you cop out and tell us the truth?
I got nothing to say until I see a lawyer.
Joe, see you a minute.
Yeah, Olson, right away. What do you got?
Kid says his name's Jim Nelson. Picked him up out at Barrett's place.
Anything on him?
Suitcase. Here it is. A couple of fur coats inside of him.
What about Nelson?
Checked him. Got a record listing 2 burglary arrests, 1 conviction.
Where's he now?
Got him over in an interrogation room.
Who's with him?
Rubles.
Any trouble?
No. Walked in and we took him. Says he wants to see Barrett. Thought maybe you'd want to talk to him first.
Yeah, I do. We'll be right back, Frank.
Okay.
Let's go.
Anything on the coats?
Haven't had a chance to check him yet. Brought the Nelson kid right in.
Anybody out at Barrett's now?
Yeah, we called the team before we left.
Okay, thanks. I'll call you.
Right.
Hi, Rubles. Thanks.
All right. Olson, I'll be down the hall if you need anything, Joe.
Right, thank you. Your name Nelson, is that right?
Yeah.
Where'd you get the suitcase?
Barrett gave it to me.
When?
A couple of days ago. I was supposed to take it to Detroit.
What happened?
I didn't make it. Got to thinking about how he was willing to pay my expenses back there just to take the suitcase. Got to wondering what was so important. Opened the suitcase, and when I saw what was in it, I didn't want any part of it. Tried to give it back to him. Cops picked me up.
Uh-huh. You know where he got the coat?
No, I don't want to. Anytime a guy's willing to pay expenses back east just to deliver a suitcase, there's something phony about it. I want no part of the action. You know I got a record. I only stood one conviction. I'm trying to keep clean. You got Barrett here now?
That's right.
You going to hold him?
Yeah.
I'd like to see him for a minute.
Why?
I'd like to tell him what I thought about the deal he tried to pull. Telling me how he was my friend. All the time getting me to carry the stuff for him. Can you fix it up so I can see him?
Yeah. Come on.
You going to be able to nail him?
We will now.
You imagine a guy would pull a stunt like that on his friends? A guy would do that to about anything.
Yeah. You willing to testify about how Barrett gave you the suitcase?
I sure am. I want to see him nailed good.
Barrett?
Yeah?
Turn around here. This friend of yours wants to see you.
What are you doing here?
Thought I'd be in Detroit by now, didn't you, Max?
Just keep your mouth shut. They got nothing on us.
Watch him while I get the suitcase for you.
Yeah.
How about it? You ever see this bag before, Barrett?
He should. He gave it to me.
Beautiful coat here. Let's take a look at the lining, shall we?
I don't know anything about those. The guy sold them to me. I don't know where they came from.
How about it? It's right there, initials J.A. You want to tell us now, Barrett? Barrett?
Lousy kid. I should have known better than to trick you.
Come on, let him go. Let him go. Bust his nuts.
Sit down, both of you. Sit down, Barrett.
Oh, kid. Going good until he stuck his nose into it. All going good. How lousy can a deal get?
Well, I wouldn't worry about it.
What?
You're going to find out.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 18th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Max Rudolph Barrett was tried and convicted of burglary in the first degree, 4 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 5 years. His associates in the burglary ring were tried and convicted of receiving stolen property, which is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not more than 10 years. Because of the cooperation she gave authorities in apprehending the suspects, Wilda Noreen Chandler was released from custody.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Novak. For hire.
Novak for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. Down on the waterfront in San Francisco, billing doesn't mean much. Everybody's got the same act. They're all out to turn a fast buck, and when you're in business down here, everything but murder is a parlor trick. Once in a while, your eyelids get sore from winking it too much, but it's a living. You get to meet the best people in town. There's only one hooker. You're liable to wake up some morning dead. Because around the waterfront, you don't need a union card for trouble. It sneaks up and paws you like a wet ghost. I found that out when I met Bruno Weiss. I closed up early Tuesday night, and I went home to catch up on last month's sleep. I don't know how long I was in bed. Must have been about 11 when I woke up. The room was dark and as stale as last year's Christmas candy. I had the goofy feeling that somebody was in the room with me. I was breathing kind of hard, and I stopped to have a listen. Somebody was sitting on my bed. Either that or the landlord had put in an echo. I listened again.
Hello, Novak.
You're mixed up, friend. I pay the rent here.
Get your hands away from the light, Novak. Just be a good boy, and you can collect your old age pension.
Now, look, I'm not crazy about waking up with strangers sitting on my bed, especially if they got baritone voices. Now, say your piece and beat it.
Don't get jumpy, mister. When your eyes get used to the dark, you're going to see a gun about a foot away from your nostrils. I want the keys to your boat, Novak.
Get them in the morning at $25 a smell.
I want them now. Just tell me where they are. I'll do the rest.
Don't get big-hearted.
I don't want chatter and cocktails. I want those keys. Unless you want your face to look like a rump roast, you'll start talking.
The keys are in the bottom drawer of the desk.
That's the boy. Gonna bother you both a while. You'll get it back by noon tomorrow. There's the boat keys.
2 of them are. The rest open the front door of the U.S. Mint.
Sorry I can't stay around, Novak. You sound like a card. Sleep tight, Novak. This'll have to do for a lullaby.
He didn't even give me time to pick a dream. I stretched out on the floor as dead as a Philadelphia nightclub. I don't know how long I stayed out of the ball game. Must have been a couple of hours, because when the phone rang, it was past midnight. I reached over to pick it up, but my hands were as steady as a maple leaf in a hurricane, and my head was big enough to sell by the pound. I finally found it in the dark and started talking. Hello?
Hello, Novak. This is Joe Powers down at Pier 19. You awake?
Sure.
You sound groggy.
Oh, it's a sedative. What's on your mind?
One of your boats just drifted in. Guess what?
I don't have to. It's smashed up, and you want to offer me $50 salvage.
Hey, that's right, Novak. Just like it.
I'm a patsy, you mean? Some gunsel borrowed the boat a couple of hours ago. Came in here, told me a bedtime story, and took the keys.
Well, you better hop right down here.
It'll keep, Joe.
No, it won't. Hurry up or you'll run a dead heat with homicide. There's a dead guy in the boat.
Well, it must be my playmate.
I don't know. He didn't say. But you better grab a cab and get on down here. There's going to be a lot of questions.
Sure. If you need any good answers, save a couple for me. From now on, there was no waste motion. I knew that. If homicide was on the case, that meant Inspector Hellman. Well, he's a real nice guy, if you like his type. I had to do something soon. If I didn't, I'd have about as much chance as a pound of liver at a cat show. So I jumped into some clothes, and I was starting out of the apartment when I missed my wallet. The keys were attached, and that gunsel had taken the whole works. I began to get mad. For $70, you can get a Scotch hangover instead of the kind I had. And if you're lucky, a couple of good memories. So when I drew up at Pier 19, it didn't look like the sunny side of the street. Joe Powers was waiting for me.
You got the first round, Patsy. Homicide hasn't showed yet.
I'm full of luck tonight. Where's the boat?
Oh, right over here.
Lots of fog tonight, huh, Joe?
You're walking on it. Well, that is. How's your insurance, Patsy?
All right, except I'm not carrying any on that dead guy. Who is he, Joe?
I don't know. He's your passenger. You roll him.
All right, give me a hand. No, push him over on the other side, will you, so I can get in the pocket?
Is he the same guy that took the keys?
I don't know. If he is, he never looked lovelier. There's nothing in this pocket. This one's empty except for a comb. He sure spent my $70 in a hurry. Must have thrown in the wallet for a nightcap.
No identification.
We should have bought a scorecard.
Hey, here on the floor. It's a key.
Let me see that, Joe. Room 425, Royal Arms Hotel.
Where is it?
That's a dive down on Turk Street. Well, say hello to Homicide for me.
Oh, you're not bright tonight, Novak.
Well, I'm not going to stay around here. They'll pick me up faster than a gin fizz.
What am I going to tell them?
Anything you like, Joe. Shift into freewheeling and let them follow, but I'm not going to hang around for a pinch. I'm one boat and $70 short.
Tell it to Homicide.
I don't like manual labor that much. See you later. I started for the Royal Arms Hotel. On the way, I picked up the only honest guy I know, a bottle baby by the name of Jocko Madigan. He's a good man, except he thinks it's a waste of the taxpayers' money to put alcohol in torpedoes. I hauled him out of the Hunt Room bar, and we walked down the street to the Royal Arms Hotel. It was the perfect spot for a missionary. The lobby looked like the first act of Rain. There was a pinball machine in one corner, a couple of last year's girls in this year's slacks, and a bleary-eyed little night clerk. He looked like a well-groomed laundry bag, and he gave us the fisheye as we started upstairs. Room 425 was down at the end of the hall. Jocko didn't care if we ever got there.
Patsy, we have no business coming up here. We're in search of fool's gold.
We're in search of my $70.
Exactly. I view you as my penance, Patsy, the sackcloth for a misspent life.
If you can shake off that buzz, you'll find out I'm in trouble.
You'll always be in trouble because you're a patsy, and you're dangerous because you move in the twilight zone between good and evil without any predisposition toward either one.
Yeah, all right. Here it is. 425. Nobody home. Let's go in.
It's housebreaking.
Now, look, Jocko, I want my $70. I'm going in.
Patsy, sometimes you terrify me. I think you'd pick the lock to the gates of heaven.
I would if they had my $70. Come on. The guy's dead down on my boat. We won't hurt his feelings. We'll just nose around a minute and get up. It was a pretty room if you like dead women on your rugs. She was stretched out in a pale yellow dressing gown, as quiet as an April morning and twice as pretty. A dull red scar ran across her temple where somebody had laid an iron shovel. She didn't belong in this hotel because she was wearing a necklace and a bracelet that left a gap in somebody's pocket. And from the ringside, she looked all right. Jocko noticed it, too.
She has lots of character.
Yeah, but where's my $70?
She's a nightclub dancer.
How do you know?
Her picture's plastered all over the wall there. She's the headliner at El Palateo, Miss Rita Malloy.
I wonder who the guy on the desk is there.
Boyfriend, probably. Let's get out of here, Patsy.
Oh, wait a minute. How about that dead guy in the boat? Where does he fit in?
I'll listen to that one, Novak.
Oh, Hellman.
What happened to the girl? She die laughing at you?
It's Rita Malloy, a piece of change from the El Palateo.
Uh-huh. Got a hat, Novak?
No.
Then you're all ready. Come on.
Oh, get your brain lined up and look at her. She's been dead a couple of hours.
You're still eligible, Novak. On your way down, you can explain that guy at Pier 19.
Oh, you can't be that dumb, Hellman.
I'm smart enough to see you peeking over the 8-ball. You look like a 10-to-1 shot, Novak, and I got my money on you all the way.
If you're going to make this thing add up, you can't do it alone.
I'll try.
Well, that's what Furpo said. So I don't look good on this one. I'll look worse if I leave it up to you. You couldn't find a hangnail if you knew what hand it was on.
You got 24 hours, Novak. I'm going to piece things together, and then I'm going to make a pinch. Pick out a soft spot.
Yeah?
Yeah. Stay near the phone. If it rings and a man answers, that'll be homicide. Good night.
Hellman was right. I looked like a sure bet for the rotogravure section. I was beginning to run out of silver linings, and I knew it. I didn't have an answer for anything. The guy in the boat was still a stranger, and Rita Malloy was still dead. I was sitting in the middle of a high-stake game with a pair of trays. When we left the hotel room, I had the funny feeling that there was something wrong back there. I didn't know what. I just knew there was something wrong, the way you feel when you pick up the wrong hat and put it on. The position of the body, those pictures on the desk, I didn't know, but there was one detail that didn't set right. Well, I told Jocko to hang around headquarters, and I started for the El Palateo. It was like all the rest. A little melancholy bar on Mason. A fire trap with a cover charge. The decor looked like early Franco. The floor show was on as I fought my way up to the bar. Excuse me, please. I'm sorry, lady. Can I get through here, please? How about a drink?
Your idea? What do you want?
Scotch.
Soda or water?
Water. You got a nice club here.
We like it. 80 cents.
Too bad about Rita Malloy.
Yeah?
You don't seem heartbroken about it.
I'm not a mother.
80 cents.
Anything wrong, Eddie?
No, boss. This guy's crying in his beer about Rita Malloy.
Oh. I'm Manny Ryan.
You own the club?
A piece of it.
My name's Novak. Call me Patsy at the moment. The police think I killed Rita Malloy.
When you go on trial, Mr. Novak?
I don't. That's why I came down here, to find out which one of your people killed her.
I see.
She was mixed up to her ears with some thick hoodlum.
You, Mr. Novak?
No, a guy right out of your set. He came rolling in with the tide this morning, playing rigor mortis all over my boat.
Look, Novak, you better go see someone else to tell your troubles to. I'm a busy man.
Yeah, well, so am I, getting out of a murder rap. You knew her, Ryan. In fact, I got an idea you knew her pretty well.
Let's not talk that way about the dead.
Your pictures splattered all over her apartment. Were you engaged to her?
That's one way of putting it.
You better have a big fat alibi ready for tonight. Homicide's going to think you killed her.
I'm betting on you for the finals, Novak. I don't need an alibi. She was a friend of mine.
That's why you need one. People just hate their enemies, but they kill their friends.
You better stay out of the public library, Patsy. You're not smart enough to understand epigrams.
I'm smart enough to find out where you were from 10 o'clock until midnight.
Go ahead. Circle around the club. But keep a drink in your hand. We run for profit.
I didn't get much out of the doorman. He wanted a first mortgage to talk, but one of the busboys opened up. He told me that Ryan and the girl had brawled the night before. Also, that Ryan left the club for about an hour tonight. Well, I put him on the list anyway. But it began to look more and more like a one-horse race. Well, I got one other lead. A clarinet player in the band wanted to harmonize with Rita Malloy, but there wasn't much else to go on. And then I spotted the gal who had taken Rita Malloy's job in the show. She was just finishing her number, and so I followed her back to a dressing room. When she opened the door, I got a nice warm feeling like a melted cheese sandwich, and I was looking around for a rope to hang on. She was pretty. And when she said hello, you knew it was time to send in the varsity.
Good evening.
For some people, you mind if I come in?
It's late in the season. I can't be choosy.
All right. I'm Pat Novak.
I'm Tony Drake. What do I do? Tremble?
Talk, mostly. Did you know Rita Malloy?
Around here, that was an occupational hazard.
The police think I killed her.
Did you?
No. When I got there, they were tearing down the goalposts.
Oh, that's too bad. I'd have been very grateful.
It's something I'd like to try.
Are you switching the topic, Mr. Novak, or have I been in the big city too long?
I just want to know who killed her. You got any ideas?
Nope.
How about your boss?
Maybe. She was getting a little frayed around the edges.
How's his temper?
No worse than a cobra's. He might have done it, but I doubt it.
Anybody else?
He was putting in a little overtime with a thug.
Not a big, porky guy with a deep voice?
I never saw him. I just heard that he was trying.
Must have been quite a line. Anybody else? How about that clarinet player?
No play. He was just a salmon swimming upstream.
I see. Well, do me a favor, will you, Tony?
All right. You only get one, so make it a good one.
They're tailoring me for a trip over the hill unless I show up with a fistful of answers. Now, can you give me a list of all of Rita Malloy's friends?
I can write them all down on a piece of confetti.
I mean everybody close to her. The people around the club here, the people on the outside. I'll pick it up in a half hour at your apartment.
At my apartment?
Yeah, at your apartment.
All right, don't get sore. I was just inquiring, not complaining.
All right. One other thing, Angel.
Yes, Patsy?
Don't forget to put yourself on that list. Be seeing you. Well, it was good to get out of there. When she started walking towards you felt like a shovel full of scrap iron in a Pittsburgh blast furnace. Well, I called up Jocko at headquarters. He didn't seem to be worried about me. He was thirsty. The guy on the boat hadn't been identified yet. The coroner said he died of severe bruises and that Rita Malloy checked out with a fractured skull. I gave Jocko Tony Drake's number, and I started for her apartment. I couldn't have done better with Aladdin's lamp. She had the list and a bottle on hand. I went over the list with her, and then it turned out she had insomnia. The radio was turned down to room temperature. I was working on my fifth drink when the phone rang.
Let it ring, Patsy.
Oh, I better get it, baby.
I think you're a sissy.
No, prison pallor wouldn't look good on me. Hello.
Patsy?
Yeah?
Are you busy?
Well, depends on your point of view. What's up?
I'm not tearing you away from that list of suspects.
Let's have it, Jocko.
They just identified the dead guy on your boat. His name is Bruno Schweiss. He's wanted in Miami, Florida. He's a hired gunman.
Good. Now jump over and see Paul Stangl at the Chronicle Morgue, huh?
I already have. There's no tie-up between Bruno Schweiss and Rita Malloy.
There's gotta be. Those two killings are tied up like ham and eggs.
Hellman just got a report from the Harbor Patrol. They found a buoy knocked out of place. They figure your boat did it and Bruno got killed in the crash.
What does that do to things?
It clarifies them enormously. This way you're going to hang for only one murder. Good night, lover.
I knew Jocko was right. Hellman could rig me as long as he had only one case to work on. He's a single-celled animal, and this was just about big enough to fit into his brain. Well, I left Tony's apartment, and I walked over to the El Palateo. Must have been about 4 o'clock in the morning. It was still dark enough for me to kick in a back window without being seen. I headed straight for Manny Ryan's office, and I started going through his stuff. It was like trying to separate a ton of salt and sugar dumped in the same bin. I went through most of the drawers, and in the last one, I got a hold of something. I grabbed the phone on Ryan's desk, and I called Hellman. Well, I wasn't sure, but I figured he could try this one on for size anyway.
Police headquarters.
Give me Hellman and Homicide.
Yeah.
They must have put their best men on his trail because they found him inside a half hour.
Hello, Novak.
I'm in Manny Ryan's office. He owns the El Palateo. I just rifled his desk.
It's a minor offense for you.
I got a hold of last month's phone bill. Guess what?
It's too high.
The office put through 2 calls to Key West, Florida, the last part of this month.
4 o'clock. I'm barely interested. Go ahead.
Bruno's Weiss hired out as a gunman. San Francisco is a long way from home plate. That means somebody sent for him.
And you're trying to put the finger on Manny Ryan.
That's right. That silver frame you picked up at Rita Malloy's, take a look at the guy in it. That's her boyfriend, Manny Ryan.
We'll check on it. In the meantime, keep squirming, Novak. You look pretty.
Oh, you're smooth, Hellman.
Smart talk's not going to keep you out of the chair, Novak. Stay handy. We've only got a short extension cord.
Yeah, well... Hello, Hellman. Hello, Lupos? Frank, is Jocko Madigan there? Good, put him on, huh? Hello, Jocko. Now listen, I'm up at Manny Ryan's place. Yeah, that's right. I'm not sure, but I think that Ryan's... My head must have looked like a jackpot. Everybody in town was hitting it. I rolled over and played dead for about 5 hours. It feels better when you've had a dress rehearsal. I woke up in my apartment. The sun was streaming through the window and hit the bed. I looked like the muslin counter after a sale. It turned out I was the host and didn't know it. Jocko was sitting at the table having breakfast. The bottle was almost half shot.
Good morning. How's the other world?
Can't you leave that stuff alone?
Do you have a headache?
Of course I have a headache.
Well, I haven't, so stop lecturing me.
How'd I get up here?
I dragged you here by the heels. I met all the other hucksters on the way.
All right, stop being funny and help me up, huh?
I am the victim of a common error. You don't like me because I'm not entertaining when I drink. You don't object to my drinking. You object to my lack of wit.
Oh, shut up.
Well, it's discouraging to be condemned on moral principle when it's really a flaw in nature. By the way, I think they're going to arrest you for the murder of Rita Malloy.
What about Ryan?
I've recommended clemency.
All right, come on. What about Ryan?
You bungled it. By the time Hellman got to him, he had an alibi all framed. The calls to Key West could have been made by anybody in the club, and Ryan's covered for the time of the murder.
How about the others?
They look good, too. Your girlfriend, Tony Drake, was gone for a while the night of the murder. Hellman won't bite. She's just sitting there ready to spring an alibi.
That's right. With legs like that, she can dig up a cousin.
You better get worried, Patsy.
I am. The El Palateo is a dead-end street. I don't know where to go from there. That guy Bruno in the boat could help. There's some connection between Bruno's wife and Rita Malloy.
You're the only connection I can think of.
Yeah.
Hello, Novak. This is Hellman.
Yeah?
You were right about Bruno's wife and Rita Malloy. We just went through her safety deposit box.
I'll bet you handled the money.
She had a clipping on Bruno's wife from a Miami paper, 1937.
Go on.
Divorce action between Weiss and Miss Olga Pryor.
Well, did you look up Olga Pryor?
That's where we run out of gas. Nobody knew her. We have no description.
Well, how about Rita Malloy? Any dope on her before 1937?
I was going to ask you. You were in the room with her when she died, don't you know?
No, I don't.
I'm disappointed. I figured you to know a little about her habits.
Huh?
You wrote the book, mister. I figured you for an answer.
Yeah, I got one. And you just gave it to me, Hellman.
Huh?
Meet me at the El Palateo in a half hour. Now, if you're a real good boy, I'll tell you who killed Rita Malloy.
Are you going to be there?
Yeah.
That's all I want to know, Novak.
Things were falling into place like a fixed roulette wheel. Right from the first, I knew that there was something goofy about the picture in Rita Malloy's hotel room. I wasn't sure. I just knew I had something in the back of my mind. I didn't tumble until Hellman tipped the mitt. And then everything was cakes and ale. I sent Jocko up to room 425 in the Royal Arms Hotel, and I told him to get a description of every dress in the closet. I checked at the desk, and I got the name of Rita Malloy's cleaners. I ducked over there, and I got a list of every dress that she turned in for 3 months. I met Jocko, and we compared the list of dresses. Well, it jibed fine, except for one thing. There was a missing white dress. It had been to the cleaners before. It wasn't there now, and it wasn't in that hotel room. Well, we went over to the El Palateo to find it. Jocko didn't want to buy the scheme at all.
Patsy, I protest the notion of breaking into a lady's dressing room.
Stop worrying, will you? She's not going to be there.
Then it's futile as well as immodest. Besides, how do you know Rita didn't throw away the dress?
I'll give you better than track odds on that one, Jocko. Here we are. Come on. Now, look, you take the closets and find that white dress. I'm going through the desk for grease paint.
You should be going through a woman's closet. It's more in the nature of things.
Just look, huh? There's enough grease paint here for the whole Iroquois tribe. Did you find anything?
Yes. Watch this.
Just look for the white dress, Jocko. Hey, what's that in the corner?
Where?
Over here.
I don't see anything.
Well, down here, look, see?
Oh.
Well. That feels good, doesn't it, Jocko? Like a spell of perfect weather.
Same grease paint?
Well, it won't take us long to check. Here, you open a couple of these jars.
Don't forget your apron, Patsy.
Hello, Tony.
What are you doing?
Getting ready to build a fire under you? You're going to make nice smoke, too.
I liked you better when you were dumb, Patsy. You don't look good with a Ph.D.
Oh, put away the gun, baby. Remember, this is your second trip to the plate.
Give me the dress, Patsy.
It won't fit.
Don't worry about that. Just toss it over by the door here.
I'll do better. I'll bring it.
Stay where you are, Patsy.
It's my ticket out, chum.
You're a good guy, Patsy. Stay out of my way.
It's your role, baby.
Patsy, please stay away from me.
Come on, give me that gun.
Patsy, please.
Give me that gun.
Sorry, Patsy. That's all I could do.
Yeah, sure. You want to take a look at her, Jocko?
Put her down on the floor.
Yeah. do you say, Jocko? No dice. Well, you can't win them all, Tony.
You play too rough, Patsy.
You still got a good batting average, Novak.
Hello, Hellman. You better make a fast pinch.
She do it?
Yeah.
She got kind of clumsy in the last round, didn't she?
Not at all, Copper. They had me coming and going. When you're as far back as I am, they don't pick up the option.
Let's get out of here, Jocko. I'll check with you later, Hellman.
Be a good boy, Patsy. I'm going to miss you. You were getting to be my favorite hobby.
Yeah.
I don't know how you were on the distance stuff, but you were sure something on the sprints.
Yeah. Be nice to her, Copper. She could go in the mud herself. Well, it was blackmail, of course. Tony was once married to Bruno's wife. Rita Malloy found out and started to squeeze Tony. Well, Tony wouldn't buy that, so she killed Rita Malloy in her hotel room. She made one mistake. I didn't tumble until Hellman mentioned a woman's habits. Then I knew what was wrong with that picture back in Malloy's hotel room. It hit me like a discordant note in music. Rita Malloy was lying on the floor in a dressing gown, but she was still wearing her bracelet and necklace. Well, when a woman undresses, she always takes her jewelry off first, and then she takes off her dress. Rita Malloy didn't do that, so I took a flyer and decided that somebody had taken the dress off her and put on a dressing gown. Why? Well, because there was something wrong with the dress. It pointed too much in one direction. Well, it could be a lot of things, but probably grease paint. Tony called Bruno out here. He was supposed to use my boat to dump the body, and when he didn't make it, Tony got scared and lugged away the dress. My $70? Well, it would have looked better on a fixed fight. Well, Hellman asked only one question. How did I happen to know that when a woman undresses, she always takes off her jewelry first? I must have read it somewhere.
The Armed Forces Radio Service has just brought you Pat Novak for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced by William P. Russo. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adler. Be with us again next week when over most of these same stations we'll bring you Pat Novak for Hire. Novak for Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States, and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.